welcome back to another episode of Half a Clue Movie Review, the week-to-week podcast where we attempt critical analysis on movies. I am your host, Blake, and I'm of course joined by...
Philippe.
Ron. Hey, how you doing?
And Jason.
Philip is incapable of a normal introduction. This is the 6th week, I believe, and there hasn't been a single instance where he can just say Philip.
Well, I mean, I think it's since A Man Escaped, are talking about French cinema. He's been
I really don't think there's been a single week where he's just said Philip. You're
My name is
incapable.
Philippe.
Jean-Philippe.
I just don't understand.
Last week we were talking about Gordon Ramsay, and that's why I started calling Philip Jean-Philippe, because like from Kitchen Nightmares, or no, Hell's Kitchen, his like, I don't know.
Oh, the like...
The guy...
The host. I'm sure he has a better name for it.
Yeah,
but...
and he's like, Jean-Philippe, and I always thought that was funny.
Anyways, on this week's episode, in lieu of Black Widow coming out, we have decided to talk about Loki, a television series that has provided us a better season of Rick and Morty than Rick and Morty has provided us in a couple years.
Whoa.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Have you seen Rick and Morty lately?
We've also
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. We're
It's
also,
actually written by Rick and Morty too.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking about Lore, which is of course the sophomore film.
Yeah, it's a sophomore film.
The sophomore film by
Cate Shortland.
Cate Shortland. My apologies for blanking on the name. That's, of course, a miserable, depressing, awful experience, but it's also a pretty good movie. And we'll also be talking about Black Widow, a movie where people have been begging for her to have her own movie for years, only to be finally given one after her death. So it's a pretty exciting week.
It's the best time, I think, to make a solo film after the events of which are inconsequential. You know,
I don't want to get too far into it till we get to Black Widow, but yes, I do have. That is kind of a complaint.
It's got Rogue One syndrome.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Well, real quick before we get deep dive into our talk about Loki, the TV series, recently a film legend has passed away. Richard Donner at the age of 91. He's directed seminal film works such as Superman 1978, the Lethal Weapon series, Goonies, Scrooged, Maverick, and many more. And with his wife, Lauren Schuler Donner, they have founded the production company, the Donner's Company. They're most known for producing the Free Willy films, You Got Mail, Any Given Sunday, Semi-Pro, Constantine, and the biggie, the entire X-Men franchise.
I gotta say, I'm surprised that Semi-Pro is on that list.
Yeah.
I love that movie personally. I don't know. I don't see it bundled in with a lot of these other ones.
They did a lot.
I honestly really like Constantine. I don't know if I'm alone in that.
Yeah.
I think
It would have been even better.
Sam agrees with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam.
I
loves
know.
that movie.
I've never watched it all the way through, but the people I know who like it do love it. So yeah.
It's good. It's directed by Francis Lawrence, who did Hunger Games, Catching Fire. He's a good director.
It's like the good Hunger Games. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's. I've only seen that one and the second to last one for some reason.
Oh, that's fine. Don't watch any further.
Yeah.
Those two are the only good ones, honestly. Well, the second to last one.
I didn't
not so
think
much.
the second to last one was that good.
No, it's
No,
not.
that's-
Oh god,
No.
is that Philip Seymour Hoffman's last?
That's one of his last roles where they had to
Is
use
it
CGI.
the last
Yeah,
role?
yeah.
Yeah.
It might be at least
No.
the one that was released.
No,
or-
I think the last role he had, it was like directed by John Slattery's film. He directed a film, and then I think it was like God's Pocket.
The
or
best part
something.
about having Philip here is that you can just ask him anything and he'll know.
Yeah.
He's like, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, he's good. Constantine was great. It would have been even better because he wanted to shoot a rated R. And they were like, you can't do this, and this, and it has to be PG-13. He's like, okay, fine. And he made it, but it got rated R anyway because, you know, the intensity, and I guess also the religious aspects of it made the, you know, intensity even feel more violating to the MPAA. And they were just like, okay, it's rated R. He's like, what the fuck? I would have just made it rated R then.
I hate the MPAA. They seriously have just really stifled so much creativity over the past, century at least, since they've been around. Fuck those guys. All right, so let's get into Loki, huh? I'm actually really excited to talk about this one. I was not really that into looking into watching it. I mean, I was kind of interested, but
it was a
not that
journey to
interested.
get these people to watch it. I was like, after every single podcast writing, I was like, okay, so Loki, don't forget, we're gonna talk about it. I'm like, yeah, okay, we're good. It's like Loki. Don't forget. Literally, it was this morning. I asked, okay, have you guys finished Loki? It's like
And
a
I
mom.
did. I watched it all last night.
I watched 5 hours of fucking Loki.
and it was
yesterday.
worth it. It was like actually I really enjoyed it. It wasn't hard at all.
Yeah, I'm not like the biggest Loki fan, but I really enjoyed it.
I am a Loki fan. I want to give my quick history of the character. I'm not a huge...
real quick before that, let me give a quick synopsis for people listening in.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
let's jump into
God.
this and then we'll go back into it.
All right. Quick
I
synopsis.
get it.
Quick synopsis of the TV series. After stealing the Tesseract during the events of Avengers Endgame, the 2019 film, an alternate version of Loki is captured by the enigmatic Time Variance Authority, a bureaucratic organization that exists outside of time and space, whose sole purpose is to monitor and maintain a stable, sacred timeline. Mobius M. Mobius, a TVA agent, offers Loki a choice: be erased from existence due to his status as a time variant, or help the TVA stop a greater threat to the sacred timeline.
So I guess we should also say full spoilers, in case you're interested.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil the shit out of this, so please continue listening.
Spoilers for everything we ever talk about.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
a general rule of thumb.
Yeah, I mean, Black Widow just came out, so we'll probably do like a little segment where we try not to give spoilers, and then we're gonna jump in all the spoilers because
Nah, we're not that considerate.
probably not. Just
Okay,
don't-
maybe not. Whatever then. Fine.
Just expect everything we talk about ever at any given moment to be spoiled. Now, before I was so rudely interrupted by, what do you call him?
Jean-Philippe.
Before I was so rudely interrupted by Philip, I wanted to give my quick thing, because I was actually against this show, and I didn't really want to watch it, despite really liking Loki. I don't love the MCU. I'm probably the least enthusiastic person here about it, except for maybe Jason. He might agree with me on that. But I love the character of Loki. He's kind of like written for me. He's like the combination of two of my favorite character archetypes. On one side, he is the villain trickster, the kind of villain that isn't so all-powerful, but because they can manipulate you and outsmart you, that kind of makes them a threat, kind of like Benjamin Linus from Lost. And at the same time, he's also kind of the sad boy, bad boy archetype, the haunted soul that kind of has to earn a redemption arc.
Can
kind
never
of like
live up to his expectations.
Yes, kind of like the Prince Zuko, if you will.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the combination of the two archetypes that I like. That being said, love Loki, was totally against this show, but I gotta be honest, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I'm like enjoying. I thought the time stuff would be a little annoying because it's always iffy when you mess with time travel, but I think they've handled it really well. And yeah, the what is it? The TVA. It reminds me a lot of
The DMV.
of the central bureaucracy from Futurama because they're so just like bland and they're like, I was on the central committee to the acquisition to change the color of the book. We kept it gray, and the time police from Super Jail, which are just like fun time police that stop anyone from committing time crime.
Yeah, I remember the what's it called the video you sent of like I think where the guy tries to escape from the time police, but they age him until he does.
Yeah. Stop!
Okay.
You cannot escape. You will not survive running from the time police. It's great. Watch Super Jail.
It's super underrated. I really do think so. That's like before Rick and Morty and stuff. Like that was one of my favorite.
Oh yeah,
what's it called?
very ultra violent though. Heads up, as most of Adult Swim content. But yeah, no, Loki though. I'm enjoying it. I love like the retro feel to it. Also got some like Umbrella Academy, I think,
Yeah, it
stuff in there
definitely
too.
reminds me of the Umbrella Academy.
but better. Okay. Does this? I mean, since this TV series covers like an alt Loki's journey, does it feel like filler material to you guys, or is there enough narrative consequences and impact on the overall MCU lore that kind of justifies its existence?
I have to wait for the last episode to answer that
But
question.
at least based on what you guys watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna
It's
have to
definitely
wait.
entertaining enough for
Yeah.
me to justify its existence,
Yeah.
Unlike The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
You haven't even finished that.
I fucking hate it though. Like I hate that show.
It's okay to hate it, but you should. I always have a philosophy like if you're gonna hate it, watch it till the end.
Yeah,
and then
I
hate
will
it.
eventually, but I just got to a point where I
You
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm like definitely enjoying it more than WandaVision, which I also really enjoyed, but it keeps a lot of the same aspects of it, like the fact that it feels very creative and new, something that we haven't seen in the MCU, unlike Black Widow, but like it's just a lot of stuff that's just I don't know. It's creative and fun and like kind of wild, but
It's
like
got a
I'm
pretty
enjoying
cool
it.
aesthetic to it too.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got,
Oh, yeah.
I think Philip, you were mentioning David Lynch a couple weeks back when you were talking about it.
Yeah.
I think you're
Oh,
probably
I
talking
think-
about the Twin Peaks, like the dream sequence rooms. Is that kind of what you were trying to?
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, what's got there is some Lynchian vibes. But I was more specifically talking about David Fincher. What's it called? Because the guy, I think Michael Waldron was talking about, he watched Zodiac and
Like,
Seven.
The
right
whole TVA just does feel like that kind of
Yeah.
70s police station or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
It
much
feels like the DMV to me. Kind of.
Yeah.
like Mobius, and Mobius is like the Mark Ruffalo character slash the Jake Gyllenhaal character refusing to Owen Wilson's body. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
But well, I mean, besides that, but do you guys think that, like, because like, there's certain films, like, we gotta admit, there's certain films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that if you haven't watched it, you could watch like Avengers and be okay, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys think that this one will have impact on like the other films later on, just based on what you've seen, right?
We should also be clear that we've only watched up till episode 5. That's why we're recording this.
Yeah,
so-
but at the time of release, episode 6 will release, and we will cover that in a future episode.
Yeah.
Probably
yes.
we'll cover it in our next.
We'll cover it
episode.
next week.
Yeah, stick around for next week. But, well, yeah, I don't know. I like it. I think that so far it doesn't feel like it may have like a major impact over the rest of the MCU.
Okay.
But I could see the effects of this show, like, I guess, echoing throughout. Like, I understand Doctor Strange is the Multiverse of Madness. That's the sequel, which I was
writer.
initially very excited for. Oh, it's the same writer?
It's the same writer as Loki. Yeah. He's going on.
Fantastic. That
Yeah.
makes me actually very excited now for
And
that.
it actually makes a lot of sense considering the material.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Is that I'm pretty sure this might be leading into that whole multiverse plot line.
Yeah, because up to this point, it looks like they're burning the TVA down, right?
Yeah.
So the multiverse is going to be just let off the leash. So now it's like, all right, now multiverse is just like, full spectrum, like kind of variants of every kind of hero and villain. And I'm sure, like they say in the beginning of the show, it led to chaos or wars of the multiverse. So
Yes, which was
that'll
great.
be
When I saw
interesting.
that, I was like, oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
which comic book stuff has done that a lot before. I mean, DC has all their crisis events, which is all about multiverse and alternate realities crashing into each other and shit. And Marvel has done that too. So I'm like interested. This could be very big for the rest of the MCU.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's get into the first episode, which was called Glorious Purpose, aptly titled. Okay, so does this... Okay, one thing is, this uses the alt version of Loki, the one that escapes in Avengers Endgame. Does this time variant of Loki feel different enough from the Loki from the main MCU timeline? And also, do you guys feel like his characterization was consistent with where his character left off from the 2012 Avengers film? Because now when he's all like, kneel before me, giant horns, stabs Thor in the stomach... You know what I mean?
Pulls out a guy's eye.
Yeah, I know.
I think they do a really good job of just breaking him down, because when he gets there, he's just trying to like be all like, fuck this, dude, I'm getting out of here, it's not a problem.
I'm a god, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like slowly he comes to this realization, like, I'm so fucked here. Like, and it's really cool seeing someone who's so powerful and willing like to just murder everyone to get what he wants, being incapable of doing anything to get out of the situation.
I think
he's
the
in.
scene that really sells that is when he just opens the drawer and like all the Infinity Stones are chilling in there.
Yeah.
like as he's
like,
trying
"Infinity
to.
Stones!"
Well, it's the way they shoot it too. He's like he's stealing the Tesseract and he's kind of in a hurry, and then he just like pauses for a second and says, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
He's like, people are fucking like dying one by one on Earth for this.
Yeah.
And then the guy Casey, he's like, yeah, people use those as paperweight.
Dude, by the way,
That guy is
Casey,
hilarious.
yeah, he's the
Yeah,
funniest.
he's
We
one.
great.
need more Casey.
I wanted
I'm
him.
serious.
He's only in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I'll gut you like a fish.
What's
What's
a
a fish?
I like when he's explaining to the other guards. Then he threatened to gut me like a fish, whatever
Whatever
that is.
Yeah. It's like the guy, I think he's like a comedian or something, Eugene Cordero.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
pops up in
Every-
lots of stuff
like-
just around.
Yeah, it's like, was he Parks and Rec? I'm not too sure about that. I know he was in The Good Place. He was right there as like, one of the main characters' brother.
I remember him from Kroll Show, which I'm sure
Oh.
not many people watched, but like I really liked Kroll Show. But he was in there, and he always had like really funny bits whenever he's on there, or even Comedy Central's. I think it was Mashup, where they just like basically did live action versions of like comedians bits, like
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, he's super funny. I liked seeing him there, and I would love to see him like be a reoccurring character or something. But
Yeah, I'd like to see him in more stuff.
He has such a like when he smiles with all his teeth, it's so lovable and goofy. It's like hilarious to see. Oh gosh.
But going back to like him seeing the Infinity Stones in the drawer and stuff, and then I like how he just stands up and just looks at like the TV that's just monitoring the one true timeline or whatever.
Yeah.
And his just look is like, is the TVA the ultimate power in the universe? Just like as he's just in like some office space that just is pretty bland, and he's just like, what the fuck?
I know.
Like oh my god, like he's from Asgard, right? Like his Odin and Thor or his family, and he's so
for him
now
to
in awe of like this bureaucratic bullshit.
I mean, he did some crazy shit in the first film, like. They had a war, and and he destroyed the Bifrost. I mean,
they fought against ice giants.
He is an ice giant, right? That's one thing though. I do wish because since he is technically like Loki Lofison or something.
Yeah,
right?
Lofison's son.
Yeah, so he should because in the first film he uses ice giant powers, but he hasn't since. And I'm like, that's a bummer. That's a cool power to have,
Yeah, like the minor tid like little nitpick that I had throughout was just kind of like he felt very powered down, which I think in the first episode makes complete sense. Like they're nullifying his powers, he can't really do anything. He's essentially a normal guy. But like later, there's a point where like alternate Loki is like she manipulates this one guy who's kind of just pushing around, and it's like he's still like the god.
He's a god and he's a frost giant.
Yeah, like he went toe to toe with Thor at like a certain point. Like sure, Thor kicked his ass, but like I don't know.
I did see the argument. We'll get into that in episode 2 because I saw a counter argument or something regarding that. Basically with the whole. Alternate Loki and their powers, but okay.
No, the
I
first
also
episode
have something to say about that in episode 3.
Oh, okay. But no, for like the first one, I think the introduction to the TVA was really good. Like the timekeepers, the little like Miss Minutes,
voiced by Tara Strong.
Yeah. She was awesome. I love the like look of her just on screen. It looks really cool. I haven't seen anything like with that sort of aesthetic.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of like when they first went to Jurassic Park and they had the little like was it a worm or something?
Yeah. I'm Mr. DNA.
Yeah.
DNA, yeah. And he's like
make a baby dinosaur.
I have another answer to Philip's question just now about does this feel consistent with 2012 Loki? I might have a more controversial answer, though. I kind of feel like maybe they're trying to get their cake and eat it, too. Because, okay, so like as Philip said, this is 2012 Loki. This isn't,
Yes,
this
is like right
yeah.
after Avengers.
Yes, Loki hasn't experienced Dark World, Ragnarok, or
Infinity War. Yeah.
That being said, is him watching a recording of our Loki kind of them cheating to kind of catch him up to where he's supposed to be?
Uh-huh.
Is that in a way kind of cheating?
Well, I mean, a little bit, but then the thing is like, and we'll get into the thing is, because by the end of Thor Ragnarok, I mean, he's not as duplicitous as he was in obviously like the original Thor film, and he's like mostly straight, and he's only duplicitous against like the antagonistic characters like Thanos, right? Where he tries to trick Thanos and kill him, in order to protect his brother, and also like to help Hulk escape. So I think like he's still like he knows the knowledge of what happens, but he hasn't quite got up to that. And the fact that he's still duplicitous shows that he's not the same character, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that it is kind of cheating, but it's done pretty well. Like it could have been done a little more poorly, or they could have just tried to I don't know, just have him basically just be like post Ragnarok Loki or something. But I think it's like it's hard to not change in the face of your own mortality. Like if someone's telling you like, hey, like, which is one of my favorite lines in the show so far, where he's just like, you're meant to lose so that others can become like better versions of themselves or whatever. It's like, damn, imagine living with that. And then not only that, but then seeing the reality of that, to being like, oh yeah, I do nothing but lose. And eventually I'm just going to die for my brother's sake, pretty much, so that his story
can improve and get better.
yeah. And it's like, fuck. So I believe it enough where it's like, yeah, that would change your outlook, I think.
Yeah, no, it's like the whole thing is like Loki, like he's always like such a big proponent of free will and like master of your own destiny. But then TVA is the exact definition of
everything away from that.
It's the exact definition of predestination.
Yeah.
Where it's just like there is no alteration, there's no nothing. It's like everything will be predetermined for you with the outcome, and it's just like completely destroying Loki who he is, right?
Yeah, I love the moment where he's like, he tries to stand up and then he like whooshes him back down, and then he's like, "What?" Like he's like, "I mean, you can stand up if you want to." He's like, "I mean, but it's not going to be the same now." And he's like, "Oh, then fine, stay seated." He's like, "Stop telling me what to do." He like stands up, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'll do what I want." It's his frustration. He's like, he just wants to be that, the wily outsider in this place, and just can't.
What do you guys think about the? I mean, because we talk about the introduction of TVA, the timekeepers, and the time variants. But do you guys think that, based on what we've seen from I think it was 29 films before this or whatever,
29,
or something
really?
like that? Or I have to double check on that. But it's
Oh my God.
do you think it breaks the lore? The fact that because we never seen the TVA before in there, right? But theoretically, based on the show, the TVA has always been there, always kind of pruning things that kind of go veer off the course.
Yeah,
Sorry, go on.
I was thinking I mean, we haven't finished the show, so I don't know where it's going to go, especially with the TVA and how all that's going to play out. But as it stands right now, it kind of takes away from everything the Avengers have done, because it's just well, it was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
So that but I don't think it's going to end that way. I think there's going to be something more to it.
Yeah.
Obviously they're hinting towards it. I don't know if we're getting into spoilers, but in episode 4 and 5, they really hammer home that not everything's as it seems.
Yeah.
It's
so
a big
I want
conspiracy.
to hold my judgment on that question until I watch episode 6.
I think it does improve that one moment where Doctor Strange uses a time stone in Infinity War, and he's looking through I don't know, millions of timelines.
Yeah,
and so there's
yeah,
only
yeah.
one timeline. And then that is consistent with TVA, where they're like, okay, nothing else will work because we're not going to let you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm wondering if Doctor Strange, when his movie comes out, that he knows the existence. I'm sure he should know.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
I think even when they meet the Ancient One in Endgame, and she's like, "Oh, you can't, by removing these stones, you're veering off all the different timelines and everything. You have to put it back." I think that's she knows, right?
Yeah.
She has to know that okay, if you go back, they're gonna undo it if you don't do it right. So then they're at least try to be smart enough to undo all the crap that they did. So it circles back around pretty well. And yeah, I think it makes sense that all the stuff that they tried to do or in Endgame, going back and changing things, and Thanos even coming back into the future, it stays internally consistent. I think, like I said, that was supposed to happen, so it makes sense. They're undoing this huge wrong in the universe. And they even make a point of saying it's not about right or wrong necessarily. It's just
what should happen, what should not happen.
Yeah, what should or should not happen. Which the big question is according to who, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
that's
which
what
is
we're gonna
good.
find out
And
in
we
episode
thought we
6.
knew.
Yeah.
And now we don't.
Giant
Yeah.
space lizards, but nope.
I'm with Jason. I think there's a lot of fishy business going on here. And if it turns out this whole thing is a shit show con job, maybe the TVA doesn't even really have as much authority as they're claiming they do, but I guess we'll have to find out. I want to see another character have to go through this. Could you imagine Thanos being arrested by the TVA and him sign? Is this everything you've ever said? I'm just imagining Thanos monologue.
He can't even use his strength, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
essentially
Yeah.
what's it called?
I want to see
Devalue.
Iron Man in this situation.
Iron Man
wanna
wouldn't
see-
have been as interesting because he's just a guy, right? He's not being stripped of
His
everything
powers.
that he is.
And he's so smart, so he could just it'll be 2 episodes, and he figures out the entire joint and how to reruns it, and he becomes the head of the TVA.
Yeah,
Oh,
he'd be like, first of all your tech, what the fuck? Why is it all stuck in
Yeah.
the 60s? I'm gonna redo everything here.
Ironically, I think the best character other than Loki would be Thor. I think it would be equally as funny seeing Thor in this situation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just stripped of his power again. I mean, I guess we kind of have
we already
seen
saw
that.
That's probably a
Yeah.
good choice to the Loki instead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying that it's Loki, but there
Yeah.
are other characters I think it would be funny to see in this situation.
And I mean, getting into the whole variant thing, I like that they say that other Lokis in particular are so likely to just break out and just always cause mischief that it's just yeah, we track you guys down more than any other kind of variant. It's always the
The god
fucking
of
Loki
mischief.
because you damn Lokis are always messing things up.
Is it too early for a prediction?
Let's get into the
Let's
predictions
go.
after episode 5.
Yeah, but what about what's it called? What do you guys think of Owen Wilson as Mobius and Mobius?
He's hilarious.
He's
I
great,
love him.
dude. He's great.
God of Mischief. Oh,
This
wow.
is his best role I've seen him in a really long time.
Yeah,
Loki. Oh, wow.
yeah.
He hasn't said that though.
I know.
He said, "Wow." I'm disappointed.
I swear to God, I don't know if it was a fever dream. I think I read a headline where Owen Wilson gave an interview saying he would not be saying his famous catchphrase, "Oh wow," in Loki.
I think
Gosh,
like
that'd be disappointing.
honestly, I think that's fine. I don't really care
I
if
don't
he
care.
says wow or not.
I care.
Yeah, Owen Wilson's great in it.
Yeah, he's fun. I like his like kind of just a laissez-faire attitude. He's just like, all right, I'm just trying to like do my job here. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And then I like him just like, all right, like I think we could use a Loki, right? Like that would be just a little smart, fun thing to do. Like, you know, to have Loki around helping us catch another Loki.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Which we get to the last part of the episode. We found out that the rogue variant that's destabilizing the timeline is a Loki variant. Hence why they're asking Loki to help. Find this variant to give him his unique Loki perspective.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, I kind of saw that coming, but
Yeah.
still cool.
It was pretty brutal too, the way they introduced this new Loki. She doesn't like this new variant Loki doesn't just kill, like stab or shoot them down, burns them alive.
Yeah, very brutal. Which may be a little contradicting the later on, where it's kind of like, is she not evil, or she's not really, or not inherently, and I think that goes into prediction stuff a little bit later. I want to talk about, but
Yeah.
Well,
I think
isn't that
we'll get
like,
to
I
that.
think that's consistent with like a character named Loki,
Loki.
right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, he says it himself, right? No one's all good or all bad. Right?
Yeah.
And Loki embodies that more than anybody
Yeah,
else.
she's like super selfish, so she's like whatever meets my goals.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
starved for revenge. She wants it so bad.
All right, and now since we're going on to
One last thing about episode 1.
Okay, what?
I love just the whole sequence of him being like entered into this facility. They have to hand him the stone. He's like, "That's an infinity stone." The guy doesn't even give a shit.
like, okay,
Sounds
cool.
stupid.
This is fine Asgardian leather, and they just like rip it off of him. And then I already made reference to it, but it was my favorite comedic moment of the whole show thus far. Please sign off and say that this is everything you've ever said. What? And then like more pages start to print. And now this. But yeah, moving on.
All right, episode 2.
The variant. So in this one, we get more introduction, more devious sequences with the variant Loki, and this time they capture. I think it's a Hunter C20 played by Sasha Lane from American Honey, where this Loki enchants and possesses Hunter C20 to basically kill her own teammates in brutal fashion, and then steals the pruning device. And also, like, what's it called? Whatever. That's what she steals right throughout. The pruning devices and the charges to basically reset the timeline and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, just stockpiles it on it. And Loki, when they go there with Mobius, you would think, oh, maybe he's back to like post Ragnarok, but no, he's still trying to trick them or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love about the first 2 episodes in particular, is you still don't know whether you could trust Loki or not. Like, everything he says is just like, should I believe this or not? And sometimes he's telling the truth, sometimes he's not. After episode 2, though, that kind of goes away, I think.
Yeah.
Unless they surprise us in episode 6.
I was actually a little worried for the first 2 episodes till the end of episode 2. I was like, I really hope this isn't just some boring procedural Loki helps time police kind of thing. At the end of episode 2, that of course takes it to the next level.
Yeah, I did like the little bait and switch at the beginning where it's like, oh, it's like in medieval times, or like, oh no, it's just a Renaissance fair.
I was watching that. I'm like, come on, they have a better budget than this. And then I saw like the loudspeaker. I'm like, okay, this is like the 90s or something.
That's a good way to hide your budget.
Yeah.
What's it called? But I know this series has an insane budget or something.
Yeah.
What are those that lady say? You guys aren't in costume.
Yeah.
People need this.
But speaking of the procedural stuff, maybe because I'm a big fan of procedural, like dramas and shit. Some of them, the good ones.
Monk?
Yeah. I've
never seen Monk.
First couple seasons. I think I kind of liked some of it, especially the detective work when it was like Mobius and Loki, and they were just reading through the files and basically doing their homework and
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
cool.
Good character stuff.
Seeing a very different side of Loki. I've never seen him like do anything detective work or really just have to work. That's why I like the
him
idea.
In like a fucking regular shirt and a tie, and he's like drinking coffee. Like, it's funny.
I like them just being like, "All right, so you have to read all this," and he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Is there something else I could do?" Or this? He's like, "Nope, you got to read all these papers." And then he's like, "Oh, okay."
I bet you would have just used his magic to just like speed read or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does kind of speed read because later he's like, "Oh, like, did you read all that?" He's like, "Yeah, I did." And he's like, "What?" And then also I read all this, and that, and then that's how I figured out that Loki's doing this. Is episode 2 the one where they figure out that?
It's the apocalypse. Yeah. Like, you can hide in the
apocalypse
apocalypse because the reality is they don't branch off, because no matter what you do, it's like there's no survivors. It won't branch off. There's no consequences to it. Which is like hilarious sequence when he goes to Pompeii.
Yeah,
he's like, "You're all gonna die."
I love how he just brushes off their safety to fucking Owen Wilson too. He's like, "Who cares? They're gonna die anyways."
He's like, "All right, goats, be free. I'm from the future." Woo! Like, just having a good time. That was fun. I liked that they were able to, like, he was able to figure that out, but like they showed him really trying to figure that out and putting in some real work.
I legit thought Owen Wilson was gonna say "wow" at that sequence when he notices like it's not. This is not branching. It's like, wow. I was like, oh, come on. I was like watching it live. I was like, please just give it to me. Just give it to me. But he didn't. But it was still great. That's what has one of my favorite shots with, like, you see Pompeii like floating in the background.
Yeah, Mount Vesuvius and like the cloud of ash that's just like inching closer and closer.
Yeah, I love how they're just talking casually as like people are screaming and running away, and the ash is getting closer. It's fun.
And then they jump to Alabama, where we meet Lady Loki, which was I don't know, that was funny because like when they showed the alternate Lokis in the other sequence, I even told Rosie at the time, I was like, they didn't show Lady Loki. I know that's a thing in the comics. They also didn't show like preteen child Loki, so I'm like, I wonder if that'll come up later, right? It does.
Was Alligator Loki from the comics?
No, I don't think so. But yeah.
We'll get to that in a bit. What's called? But yeah, that was the whole sequence was cool. I do see what you're saying. Do you want to go get into, I guess, your criticism regarding the powers? I know exactly what you're talking about.
In this scene when like they're in Alabama and they're like the big storm is hitting, and then Lady Loki possesses some like big strong dude who starts beating up on Loki. That was like a minor like nitpick I had where I was like, why? It's like, shouldn't Loki be able to take this dude like no problem? Like, he's the god.
He's technically stronger than Captain America. You should just punch him. Break his wrist.
Is he stronger than Captain America? Because I've always kind of thought that Loki, he's super powered, but the jump from him to Thor would be the same as the jump from me to him.
Yeah, I could say that. Yeah, like Thor is like way more powerful than him.
And I actually had a praise for that, but that's in episode 3. But I don't know. I always kind of just thought Loki was powerful, but not like crazy powerful.
He's not, but like I'd say he's at least like somewhat on level with like Cap. Like, they're
really
like there's a part where like in Avengers when
not today.
That's like the worst line in the first Avengers movie. Not today. And then he starts fighting
the best line.
And then like I don't know, probably one of the best sequences in that movie too, when Hulk just like smashes the crap out of him and just like flinging him back and forth like a rag doll. And he just is like, he's beat up and he's definitely down for the count. Like, he's like, okay, yeah, I'm done. But like he survived that. Like nobody who's like like maybe Cap could probably survive that too. But like he's definitely somewhat on level with Cap. I would say in terms of power and strength. In the comics, he's like way more powerful. But
no, he's insanely powerful. He goes toe to toe with Silver Surfer.
He gets there's something else I'll hint on later, but I've always wanted Loki to do more magic stuff, and they do that more on the show. They show more variety, because like that was always my complaint in the MCU, is that he always kind of just does the same. He uses knives, and
he have penis atrophy. I see.
He like teleports. He does like courage doubles, which is like cool. That's all Loki shit, but like I want to see him. He's a magician. He's this god of mischief. He was taught by like his mother, who was like this also very powerful magician, and he never really did that much magic. But they're kind of remedying that throughout the show, which I appreciate.
They heavily depower him from the comics and stuff.
Yeah, like most of the characters, to be fair.
Yeah,
like
but no,
pretty
out of
much
all
all
the
the
ones, I think
characters in the
Loki's
show.
the most
I'm,
depowered.
I'm okay with that. Because, like I said, I like Loki as more of a threat in that he can say the right things to you that'll get him what he wants. He's really good at manipulating. He's really good at pissing you off and making you kind of lash out in a way that gives him the upper hand. That's what I like about Loki. He's like I said, it's kind of like in Lost. He's like Benjamin Linus. He's just this ultimate talk his way out of anything, get what he wants through words. Very, I don't know, sociopathic, narcissistic nightmare. I love it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't think if he was as powerful, it would be as important to him to be able to do that.
No, see, but I think that was what's cool about his character in the comics, that he was this powerful, but he still chose to use mischief and magic and stuff to do it, because he's just like, you are not worthy of my physical might, right? And that kind of highlights his egotistical nature. But I don't think you don't have to make him that powerful, I'm thinking. But at least be consistent. Like, they established that frost giants are supposed to be strong as fuck, right?
Yeah.
And they're like super, what's it called? They could survive sub-zero temperatures. They could fucking freeze people. They, some of them could survive getting blasted by a giant Asgardian weapon.
Yeah. I mean, I think, to be fair, I feel like for most of the MCU, the kind of the power scaling, it works. Like, most people are like somewhere in the same power, so like it's fine. I think I would love to see it. Yeah. But like, I think once we get to like episode 5, that's when they has, I think, probably my least favorite line in the show, where he's just like, I think we're a lot more powerful than we think we are. I was like, I mean, I felt like we already figured that out, but like whatever. But no, I think it's fine. I'm all for him getting like his power up too. I mean, everyone's kind of gotten their power ups, except for Loki. So he's due.
Yeah, I'm what's called, and then going back to, I guess, when he was like fighting against all the enchanted people. Oh, just heads up, the Lady Loki, she has a power that Loki originally doesn't have in episode 2, which was like enchanting people and like
taking over their minds.
Don't call me Loki. I'm Randy.
Well, then,
doesn't Loki do that in Avengers though?
But he uses
he uses the Tesseract.
Yeah, he uses technically the Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone with his
sphere. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, he could have just used his regular powers, but yeah, that's another instance of like kind of power scaling down a bit, which I think was fine for the first Avengers movie. Makes sense. Like,
but it's like I've read somewhere online, and I don't know, because I haven't heard it until I hear it from Kate Herron, the director, or Michael Waldron, the head writer. Then I don't consider it fact. Fuck off fans. But there was one fan that did bring it up. Apparently, enchanting or something, when she enchants someone, that the person she enchants has at least her physical capabilities for the meantime, and that's why essentially when they're knocked out, they're that exhausted.
I hate
There's
to
a bunch
be...
of nerds arguing on the internet. You can't take any credibility from it.
I don't buy that, dude. Like, that's a human body, right? Like, it shouldn't be able to do that.
Who cares? They're in a fucking...
it's magic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's fine.
It's
Again,
a non-issue.
if you wanted to like argue that point more, then I would have said,
Show me the thread. Let me get on.
Power scaling is important.
You will. You will get on
I
there.
absolutely would.
It's like, if they wanted to make that point, then they should have had the mind controlled people actually doing more Loki stuff then, rather than just fighting physically. Like, if they had actually started teleporting or creating doubles or something, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Well, actually, no, but she
believe
doesn't
that.
have those capabilities, though, remember? She only knows how to enchant.
You know what I mean? That's true, because she got taken as a child. Anyway,
we'll get into it, but
it was a minor nitpick.
I
A
have
lot of abduction this
I
week
have
in our
my own
films.
minor nitpick, and it is very minor. When they're in Alabama, that's like 2047, right?
2050, yeah.
2050. Why are they selling PS4 controllers?
Yeah, no. I was thinking Jason when that was happening.
Because that's Alabama, dude.
They're just behind.
It should have been like, okay, maybe, honestly, I'm guessing maybe by then there might not even be PlayStations. You never know, based on the current console war.
I mean, they're not going to have a PS4 controller.
No, they would have like PS10,
Maybe that was a retro
PSX,
video game store.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
The store did feel pretty retro for what's supposed to be the time. Like, outside there's like a hologram, and
You
I was
put
like,
an
oh,
NES or
okay.
some shit. You know,
I was like, are we gonna walk in? It's gonna be like Blade Runner or something, but no, it just looked like it looked like they just filmed it in
At
Alabama.
a Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, if they had an actual Nintendo Switch Pro, then I'll be like, okay, this is the future. This is the future.
But I think like even then, even though it's just like a regular looking Walmart, I think this goes into like just the lighting and the art direction in the show. It looks really cool. Like it's done interesting, like the flickering like lights and stuff with the storm going on. Which like a lot of the show, it looks like really good, which I appreciate. Like it's very visually interesting, which is dope.
This like I think Cate Heron, the director for all the episodes, she said that basically she said that 90 to 95% of the sets were all practical, right? She tried to use as much. Obviously, when we get to episode 5, it's not really practical. But the main thing is so that I think she said like she wanted to control the lighting much more. She said that was a big complaint that people had. She has seen the Why Are Marvel Films Are Ugly video.
Oh,
you know, yeah. And I think this series corrects a lot of that.
Yeah, this is one of the most visually impressive things they've done. I know Jason's got
And
a fun
one thing
fact
I
he
really
is
wanted to
dying
add,
to talk about.
As I was watching the credits today for episode 5, I saw like cinematography by Autumn Arkapaw, and I was like, that's interesting because the cinematographer for Lore, the next film we're going to talk about, is Adam Arkapaw, and they're married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Let's call it, and it's all cycle. They all just mean it to each other.
But
yes.
Hollywood's not full of like nepotism or anything, is it?
Yeah.
No, but they're actually very good at their
Yeah,
jobs.
They're very good. Very good.
That's not nepotism.
Yeah, I'm glad Philip brought up that YouTube video because a lot of Marvel movies are ugly.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to be talking about that a lot because I didn't. Well, we're not going to get into. I'll bring it up during Black Widow. But yes, this is gorgeous looking, unlike a lot of past projects from Marvel. I didn't really watch all of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I just remember that opening fight scene was just shot so ugly.
Oh my god, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
flat.
Well, I'm gonna reserve it because I feel like we might talk about it in the future. But let's just say, literally, who the fuck thought it was a good idea to have your climactic fight scenes have people fight against each other wearing black shirts, black pants, black mask, and also in a black street at fucking night?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are people who edit this film and decided, are they bats? Do they have night vision? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it when we get into like Black Widow and everything. But there's a lot of complaints that like I don't know. There's a lot of valid complaints that I've heard about the MCU that some are addressed and some not so much. But for Loki though, yeah, great looking sets, and I think that leads very well into episode 3. Yes. One of the best looking episodes. I think that's when they're running away on the planet. Yeah, on the moon. It's like purple. It looks really dope. Yeah, like visually again carries that over. It looks really cool.
Yeah. And episode 3 is called Lamentis, where Sylvie and Loki are working together to escape Lamentis Moon, which is a moon that's about to basically be destroyed. Yeah.
By another moon? Or what's crashing into it? Is it?
No, they're on a planet, and then the
There's a
moon,
planet,
the moon is
the
coming
moon,
in to crash down upon them.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
But yeah, it was that part was great. It was like, how many of you guys have seen some Doctor Who? Anyone seen any Doctor Who?
I watched
really.
maybe 10 episodes. I tried getting into it.
They go on a phone
Couldn't
booth
really-
that shoots them to outer space.
I know.
You uncultured fox.
I know a little bit about Doctor Who.
I know
Yeah,
David
that's it,
Tennant
though.
was in it.
Oh yeah.
And he
Oh,
says,
yeah,
I
good
don't
for
wanna
you.
go.
Honestly, if David Tennant is the head of the TVA, that would be hilarious. I would love that. But
Are you trying to say that Doctor Who is the leader?
Yes.
Or Kilgrave.
Yes.
I mean,
What's
well,
it
isn't
called?
that like a similar premise, right? It's like they're fixing the timelines and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh no, but by the way, they officially said none of the Netflix shit is canon now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not.
Fuck.
Part of the
I mean, that could have just been part of the multiverse. Like, why not? Like,
Yeah, they're
That
just
would have
like
been a great write-off right
yeah,
there.
that's
it's
pretty
like it-
simple.
I just want
Another
Daredevil
season of
back.
Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah,
all I
maybe.
want. Fuck everything else, honestly. I just want Daredevil.
Just 2 more seasons of Daredevil, and I'll be fine with another season of Jessica Jones.
fuck no. Did you see that show? The ending was terrible. Oh my god.
I did not watch season
I,
2,
for one,
actually.
want Iron Fist.
No, they made up to season. They made up to season 3. You know
I'm
that?
Danny Rand.
Yeah.
The
I'm Danny
immortal
Rand.
Iron Fist.
Such a
I'm Danny Rand.
lame version of Iron Fist. My God, Iron Fist is one of. I'm not gonna get too
We
much
have to
tirade.
talk about Iron Fist at some
Iron
point.
Fist is one of my favorite characters. I like playing in like Marvel Ultimate Alliance. and I like playing
Again,
in the video
penis
game.
atrophy.
Or reading the comics, because he has such a cool power in the visuals when he gets his fist. He punched a fucking dragon's heart and was able to get the power of the Iron Fist, and it's amazing. And he's one of the few people to punch the Phoenix and survive. It was great. He's an amazing character. He has an amazing look. He has the yellow fucking. But
They strip all that away.
Hey,
Okay, let's get into
uh,
episode 3.
All right, let's not talk
so
about it
episode
anymore.
3 of
I'm
Iron
getting heated.
Fist.
Let's go. But yeah, but what do you guys think about? Because this was essentially their version, as much as a Marvel show could be a bottle episode. It's just focusing on Sylvie and Loki. What do you guys think of their dynamic? This is a pretty controversial episode amongst some fans.
I like
Some
it.
people think it's the best one. Some people think it's the worst one.
I think
actually really
I
liked
think
it.
it's my least favorite, but I don't think it's terrible. Like there's some good stuff in it. I just feel like I just couldn't buy them when they're sitting down and like talking. She's like, "Tell me about your mother." It felt very just forced.
I
it didn't
you're
work for
talking
me.
to yourself.
I think
Yeah.
later on in episode 5 they have a really sweet moment together, and that
Yeah.
worked way better than that.
I disagree. I felt like this one, their chemistry worked really well for me. Like they're one of my favorite couples now from the MCU.
yeah.
I mean, they're not technically a couple yet, but like I love
Either.
the
Call them
idea.
you could call them a single.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love
they
the
have
idea.
sex. Is that masturbation?
Yeah. Oh, totally. But I love the idea of that the person that Loki falls in love with
Or no, we
is
saw
himself.
Because he's like the most narcissistic character in the MCU, right?
Absolutely. So of course he would fall in love with another version of himself, which
And-
is great.
I think Kate Herron, she said the reason why they kind of went forward with that is because she said something about a lot about this show is about self-love and self-acceptance. So she said, I just thought it fucking made sense that Loki will fall in love with himself.
Oh yeah, no.
Just-
So Sophia DiMartino, I really liked her. I've never
Yes.
seen her in anything else, as far as I know. But
she's
I
had
really like
minor
her.
roles in like several TV shows. The most recent one that is Yesterday, the Danny Boyle film where everybody forgets about the Beatles songs.
oh,
Yeah, she was
Who
there.
was in American
I saw that. I
Honey?
like that movie.
Yeah,
Who was in American Honey?
that's Sasha Lane. She plays Hunter C20.
Oh, the
Yes,
administrator.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
she
the
looked
beginning
familiar
scene.
too. But,
She's Hunter C20, also Hellboy. My gosh, oh, let's not talk about that.
yeah, it's not
Let's
going to
talk
Hellboy.
about that. But yeah, she's what's it
you were
called?
excited for that.
See, and then that's and
I was.
I think that was a pretty cool.
I told you.
that was a
David
pretty
Harbour.
not his fault.
Yeah, we'll
We're not
definitely get
gonna
into
get into that. We're not gonna get into
We'll
that.
get to that
We're not
later.
gonna get into that. But basically, you know, that opening sequence with Hunter C20, and then they're kind of going through like Sylvie's going through her memories and stuff.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that was pretty.
That was
interesting.
really cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
And that kind of like goes into like the final, like one of the final, like honestly, legit. Even though I did like the episode, really like in terms of plot progression, there's like you could just tell them like this
Yeah,
one thing, and then that's all you need to know.
yeah,
But,
Yeah.
but then I think the episode is necessary in terms of building up the characters. But yeah, basically we find out that everybody in the TV are time variants. That
Yeah.
and then that Hunter C20 that the memories they went through because she can't she basically can't create new memories. She just has to go through the memories there to kind of infiltrate the mind. And Hunter C20 is like, you know, she said it's real in the episode 2. But basically what she means is that she did have a life before her TV. They weren't created
Yeah.
because Mobius told Loki that, hey, like, you know, everybody
We
here
were
is
born
like,
into this.
And
Exactly.
we're created by
Even
the
Casey,
timekeepers.
he's like, I've been at this desk my whole life. Like,
yeah.
What
Which-
a miserable existence.
Yeah, right. But if that's all you know, then I guess you just don't know better.
Sure,
Yeah.
can't wait to file some paperwork.
I don't know, she's so happy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for-
Casey seems fine.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
keep filing paperwork for all of
Loki,
existence.
you leave Casey alone.
Oh my gosh.
No, I like that. I liked that it was just an episode, like the bottle episode of them just characters progressing, just them talking, them building their chemistry, them like because I think that's really crucial for later on when again things do turn and they actually start developing somewhat of a relationship, and that I don't know, that chemistry was really just built in this whole episode, and I'm glad they devoted an episode to that.
Yeah, I think it was important. I like how if you said this is the closest thing Marvel's
Yes.
ever going to get to a bottle episode.
Yeah,
It takes
it's-
place on the entire
like
fucking
a
planet.
moon's crashing
planet.
down upon
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. They can't get, you know, they can't be that.
They
artsy.
can't just
Yeah.
break down in a car somewhere and have to talk it out. I mean, that's like the crazy space version of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I really like the train sequence. It actually, you're saying you don't like it. It might be my favorite like sequence of the whole show. I like
What?
the train sequence.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying what?
Was that
I
episode
like-
3 or was it, or
No,
no?
that's
was it-
episode
That's
3.
episode 3.
Okay,
I
yeah.
like everything in it. I like their conversation. I like Loki fucking around. I really like them establishing Loki as a hedonist because I've always been like, well, of course he's gonna be that way. He's a fucking narcissistic prince. Of course he's gonna go get drunk at the bar and start dancing and accidentally not project the right.
Yeah, he's
thing.
like, it's fine. No one cares. Who gives a shit?
Like I just love. Yeah, he's so drunk that he forgets to project his right self. That's really cool. To
They
me.
have a little callback where he's just like, I like this. Another. Like,
Yes,
That's just how-
Asgardian. Asgardian's drink.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about this sequence, and once this gets into power scaling, but when 2 random soldiers just throw him out the window, I'm like, my gosh, this guy was a god
Yeah.
of mischief.
Or
Yeah.
like,
He
Sorry,
commanded an army of Chitauri. I'm serious.
near the end of the episode, one thing that really bothered me was like the moon is like minutes away from crashing down on them, and like they're trying to get to the spaceship that's gonna like take all the rich people away, and there are literal soldiers trying to fight them to stop them.
yeah.
I'm just like, are you really that committed, bro?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna die in a couple minutes. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, same. I was like, yeah, exactly. Why would they give a shit anymore? They'd just be like, I'm gonna go hide in a hole. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm fighting to get onto that ship as well.
Yeah,
Like, fuck
everyone
that.
yeah.
should have been charging that fucking
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah, there was a surprising lack of urgency as
From a lot
they're
of
all
people,
about to die.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that was like another, just probably my biggest nitpick, which wasn't even that bad
Yeah.
for me at least.
Oh, but speaking
like,
of that sequence, the wonder, I think that's one of their more impressive wonders. At least
Yeah,
amongst
it
the-
looked good.
amongst the
I was
show.
just like, come on. Who cares?
That's I think a lack of care into like the small little details. Where
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, the extra should have been running and stuff like that.
Yeah, people should have been fucking panicking, and they I think them like dodging meteors and stuff is more than enough tension for them than like having to then fight actual henchmen all the way there.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
probably have a quota of like fight scenes per episode.
They really
they
might.
probably do.
Yeah,
I
they're like,
think
we
they
need
are.
one fight scene. Come on, you guys, we need them fighting faceless
If only
people.
John Krasinski had directed this
Oh,
episode.
it would have been
Yeah.
worse. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. He would have just had, you know
He
what?
would have shoehorned himself in.
Exactly. He would have shoehorned himself in. He would have gotten Loki and stuff. He's like, hey, you guys, instead of running to the ship, let's walk into like the alleyway to a car and drive off. I was like, what? Why? If we had to go,
This episode would have
let's go to the
started
alleyway.
with him sitting in front of the camera being like, nothing's more exciting than watching Disney Plus. I
Yeah,
swear
thank you
it's
for watching
magical.
Disney Plus. I love you. Thank you.
What? It's
I was in the office.
But one thing about the Wonder was cool is that like I guess they did show that he used his magic to stop a building from falling and then
Yeah.
reverted back. At first there was like theories like, does he have the time stone? Did he take it from the TVA? No, he just uses powers. But I was like, oh, that would have been cool.
That was a little moment too, where I was like, since when could he do that?
Exactly.
Like, he can stop a building falling. I
He's
was like,
got like
what?
mild telekinesis.
I guess, yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
like moments where he like pulls things
Yeah.
towards him and stuff. So I was like, okay, I mean, fine, I guess. In a life or death situation, I suppose you could.
Yeah, I mean,
do
he was
something
there,
like
he was
that.
like struggling and stuff. That was cool. And then at the end, it didn't matter. At the Wonder, it crashed.
yeah, which I did like that
Yeah.
they just didn't get off. They're like, oh,
And Sylvie just walks away.
Yeah, they literally just walk away and they're like, okay, we're just
Well.
gonna sit on this rock till we die. Which leads us into the next episode.
The Nexus event, episode 4, where this clumsy ass metaphor given by Loki.
We didn't talk
is-
about Loki's bisexuality.
What's
Who
going?
cares?
Oh yeah. You know
Yeah.
what? Let's talk about that. Before we get into that.
So here's
The internet's-
the entire point. Who cares? It's fine.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's fine.
yeah. I was
It
like,
made sense. I thought he would fuck anything that moves. and
yeah,
he's
I was
alive.
like, Loki's never really been a
Sexual
hetero.
character. Anyway.
Yeah, he's not very sexual at all, but he's just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, why would
He'll
he
fuck
not?
anything.
Yeah, why would he not fuck anything? I think in the comics he's like fucked a horse. Like he's
He fucked a horse in the comics. Yeah.
yeah, in
He
Norse
gave birth-
mythology.
or, he's the father of that massive dog.
Yeah, the
in,
wolf. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Why is he
And-
fucked a horse in the comics?
Because
I
he
don't
can.
Thing.
Yeah.
Because he can. That's the type of character he is in the
I mean,
comics.
it's like Greek mythology. They turn into animals and have sex with people. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I'm not saying that is comparable at all to like, bisexuality. But the point
Wrong.
is
What implication
is
are
that
you
he's
trying
not
to make?
bisexual. He's pansexual.
sexual. Exactly.
Okay, it's
And then and then the thing
And
is, it's like people were like, dude, I saw so many trash videos when they're like, Loki lost all his viewers. It didn't, by the way. They used bad statistics. They're like, Loki used all its viewers because of,
Those are
they're
those
just like
fucking
virtue
losers.
signaling.
Yeah.
Those are those
I saw
fucking-
people call it Wokey. And I'm
Loki.
just
I'm
like,
like, it's one line.
Those are those fucking losers that hate any fucking movie that has any fucking hint of like,
femininity.
yeah, like
Who gives a fuck?
A bit.
Yeah, those people annoy the fuck out of me. And
Yeah.
by the way, call out to Zack Snyder. Don't like your movies. Love that you. Who did he call out? He basically he has a
Oh,
huge.
There's like
is it Geeks and Gamers?
Yeah. Super alt right guy that's like worships Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder's like, "Hey, bro, this is kind of a bad look. You better stop."
Dude, I mean, that was actually awkward. I mean, he could. We're not gonna get into that, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Good for Zack Snyder. Yeah, gosh.
Daddy Zack
Point is, Loki's sexuality
doesn't
doesn't really
Who
matter.
doesn't matter? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who fucking
And that
cares?
that's just how it should stay.
Yes,
Just
it
like,
doesn't
I think it's
matter.
fine. Doesn't really matter.
It's
Like,
just
whatever.
like-
It's never going to affect the plot. Believe me.
It's gonna. It's like the YouTubers like they can't. They always have to be heterosexual white males.
Do you think they edited out that one line for China?
I bet you
They probably could have, yeah. Probably.
Yeah. But what's called? Okay, next episode, the Nexus event. The clumsy metaphor given by Loki in episode 3, "Love is a dagger," is very applicable here because they're fucked, right? And they're just like,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do? But suddenly, out of nowhere, once they're looking, deeply and longing into each other's eyes, a Nexus events happen, and they see it on the screen, and Mobius is like, "Oh shit, what? We found them!" And then that's how they were able to escape Lamentis.
A bit contrived. I felt like I'm sure that two variant beings of like the same variant kind of the same variant like falling in love or possibly like procreating would cause some kind of Nexus event. But I thought the point of them being in apocalypse is that like it doesn't matter, and they were literally both just about to die, like a few seconds away from dying. So I thought like. Should they have just let them die? Like, I don't know. Like, that seems a little.
Or maybe they wouldn't die. That's the thing. You know what I mean? We never know, because I mean, like, if they did survive, that would confirm Loki's power scaling and stuff. If he's like actually survived. I mean, fucking Thor was able to survive in space for like days on end. After getting
that's
it.
true.
Yeah, so it's possible they would have survived because none of them are gods. On the planet, they're just regular aliens or some shit. Or
Everyone else would have died, but they maybe would have found a way to eke through.
Because they're like in one of the latest episodes, like we're Loki, we survive. What I mean?
That's true.
So what's it called? But yeah, that is weird. Yeah, just like, can you imagine just having sex with yourself? That is so great. Oh gosh,
I would not fuck me.
Female you probably smoking hard.
What would you
I
do?
thank you for the vote of confidence.
What would you do if there was multiple of me?
I'd kill myself.
I remember I asked Jason if, like, how in Last Jedi they have like that force connection where they can like talk to each other via mind. I asked Jason one time, I was like, "Hey, what would you do if that like happened to us? We got force connected," and he immediately was like, "I'd fucking kill myself."
Well, let's get into one of the things. It's they kind of go into finally Sylvie's backstory, kind of, right?
Yeah.
It's just her playing and stuff, and then Renslayer. We find out that Renslayer, played by Gugu. I'm not gonna even say her name. I'm so sorry, Gugu Mbatha Raw.
That's a tough name.
Yes, she's a great actress. She was in Belle and everything, and she's fantastic. She almost had like got the lead in like Rise of Skywalker or The Last Jedi. She's been in the running for a lot of films. Thank God she wasn't in those films. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's
Save
great.
her career.
No,
man.
she's great in this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she-
really cool. I like her as the the kind of the leader of the TVA.
Yeah.
Just like you never really tell what her
Really
intentions are.
interested to see what's gonna happen with her. She's
Yeah.
one of my
Yeah.
biggest.
Yeah,
interest
she's another
pinpoints.
person at this moment where I'm just like, I don't
Not
know
sure.
Yeah.
what's
Which is
going
weird.
on with her, because she teeters back and forth, right, between
Yeah.
being good and bad.
Well, I don't think
It's
she's
like-
ever been good.
Does she know
Well,
more?
there was
than-
that one moment where she was helping Sylvie, and then all those people came in, and she went right back into like.
Yeah. Well, she
Um,
wasn't even helping. I think that was just more out of self-preservation.
She
Because she had like, she
Well, she was saying, "I want to figure this out too." Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they
You know,
for a
there's
moment
some-
they
she
had the
has
same goal.
She has an agenda that she's not revealing.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah.
Which I
And
like.
I'm really, she's one of the key interest points for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the reveal that she's the one who took Sylvie away from her timeline, and she was about to like potentially prune her and
Yeah.
stuff, which is great. But it just highlights how bad she is with hand-to-hand combat, that she got her ass whooped by a little kid. Not ass whooped, but she got like her temp pad stolen by a little kid.
Yeah, which again makes sense. It's a Loki that would be able to like slip it off her. But I think that they had that moment where she looks at her, and maybe she could have done something, but she kind of lets her go. I think for me, it felt like she let her go.
I didn't think that was the case. I just thought she was like, she looked surprised, like, oh fuck, I fucked up. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah.
I've heard of some interesting theories about like what was the reason why she was pulled out of her timeline. I've heard one theory that Sylvie is actually not an evil Loki, or she wouldn't have been, or she wouldn't have really tried to like, dethrone Thor or whatever. So then that's why they took her out, like, because she was like, Loki's supposed to be more mischievous or like, kind of evil or whatever.
But she's actually a good-natured person.
Yeah, she seems like at her core she's good-natured, but when she's hunted for the rest of her life and she has to like survive,
they forced her into that role.
Which I don't know, that makes sense to me. That'd be interesting.
That is cool. I don't know if there's any way to prove that.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know yet.
We'll see in episode 6.
Once again, to be honest, arguing on the internet.
To be honest, I would also like, if I was hunted my entire life and I only had to live in apocalypses, I think I could see myself getting into the state of mind where I'm burning people alive.
Right? The people who are hunting you since you were a child that try to kill you, they just like, you're playing with your toys as a kid, and then suddenly these randos try to like basically send you off to die.
Because in her mind they're assholes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she has like all the reason.
Well, they freaking ruined her entire existence.
Yeah, she never had a chance to really do anything.
She's a tragic character.
Yeah. I'm really curious, like, because they still haven't went full into her backstory yet, which I'm assuming episode 6 though they will get into like more details and stuff.
You knew you were adopted? Like, I like that one.
Do you guys know if these Marvel shows, if they're like gonna have second and third seasons?
Oh wait, so this Loki has confirmed, the only show that's been confirmed for a second season.
Is Loki? Cool.
Yeah, Loki's the only one, and that makes sense.
Fucking awesome.
That makes sense, because like I could like, hopefully Mobius is okay. We'll get into that in a bit. But,
going into her like possibly being a good character, like the fact that she knew that she was adopted, that probably informed a lot of who she was developing to be, right? Because Loki's big turn when he finds out, he's like, he feels so betrayed and lied to and like given all this false hope. It's like, when you raise these two kids and be like, one of you could be the king, when in actuality, like, that
he
the other
not,
he could not be a king. Like, right, like I'm gonna give it to a fucking frost giant. Like,
I saw a meme that was like one time that was like Thor's breakfast, and it's like this elegant breakfast of like, it's like toast with eggs cut into it, and then it's like Loki's breakfast, and it's like the eggshells and like the cut pieces of toast that were made to form Thor's breakfast.
It's like no wonder Loki grew up to be a dick. Like he's manipulated his whole life that he's
Anthony
like,
Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter is a terrible dad.
Odin's not a great dad.
Well, hey Odin, your shitty parenting basically fucked up the universe.
It's like 2 of your kids grew up to be supervillains.
Oh my god! Can you imagine it's Odinson is Odin is the head of the TVA. And chilling and so.
That's like drinking. I mean, when we get to episode 5, we're gonna get some theories about who could be the villain at the end.
But yeah, let's just get into it. Like Renslayer is like
Tombstone is confirmed. The head of the TVA.
Dude, Renslayer is a secretive bitch. I'm talking about like not telling Mobius anything, just asking, like, when they're asking about Hunter C20. And then she's like, oh yeah, Hunter C20 just died. That's it. She's just gonna know. She's just gonna handle it. She just died after that. So you can't talk to Lady Loki. And Mobius is like, okay, I'm Owen Wilson. I'm much smarter than this. and then he switches out the temp pads, which I was like, okay, she's not gonna notice. Which I'm glad that she notices it right away. Which is great.
I was thinking that too. I was like, this can only buy him like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and it really does.
Yeah. And then before that, like, Mobius, and I understand why, almost like a spurned girlfriend or betrayed lover, like Mobius was torturing Loki with a cameo from Sif, where they were playing the incident where Sif was, like kneeing fucking Loki in the balls and slapping him for Loki cutting him off, and Loki had a poignant moment where he realized that he just causes pain to like receive attention and love from others, and which was great. I thought like, okay, this is like this director really understands Loki, not the power scaling, but they understand like the nature of Loki and what it is. And Loki, part of his core is that he's a lonely guy. He's lonely. Loneliness is what this defines him.
He's a frost giant, again, alone on Asgard. He's the blood of the sworn enemy of Asgard, and he has to just live there knowing that he's always going to play second fiddle to Thor. Yeah, it's a very lonely existence, and I like the line that Sif keeps telling him of like you're alone. You're always gonna be alone. That's like what you're just meant to be.
And that hit hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like fuck,
Yeah.
like ouch, like that.
Yeah. And that's why it was great for me. It was like almost seeing like your favorite, like Rachel and Ross from Friends. I don't like Friends, but just using that analogy. It's just like seeing your like favorite two people get back together and stuff, like Mobius and Loki finally teaming back together. I was like, fuck yes. And then immediately later, Renslayer's like,
And that's like a lot from Norse mythology too, of like Loki cutting Sif's hair. I forget exactly why, but like somehow it fucks with like she was supposed to be with Thor, but somehow that's like that affects her negatively. I mean, obviously your hair is cut, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like somehow he also fucks with like it makes Thor's hammer less powerful than it was supposed to be because like I don't remember.
Shit.
Yeah, Norse mythology, you know, and also, you know, in the comics they reference that. So it was a nice little nod too, which is cool.
That's good. That's good. I didn't know about that. That's actually pretty cool. No, this is really good. Good for you, Kate Haring and
cutting
Michael
hair is
Waldron.
a very thematic thing.
It's what I like about this show is that again they do seem to really care about Loki's character.
Oh yeah.
And like lots of not just little you know, fan servicey moments with Loki, but like stuff that actually services the plot and his character
Unlike some
development.
other things we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. And then and then immediately afterwards, that poignant moment with Sif, Mobius and Loki reuniting, becoming our favorite couple. Out comes bitch Renslayer. Ren bitch. And she immediately prunes Mobius.
Yeah.
And I was
yeah.
like, oh my, I remember at the moment I was like, fuck. I was really about to quit the show. And then like I was about to tweet all you guys spoilers, but I forgot you guys didn't watch it. So I was like, fuck. But he didn't get to say wow once. That's what I thought immediately. I was like, he didn't say wow yet.
Oh my god.
Oh, but gosh, that was that for me. I don't know why, but that hurt me the most in the show. And then you know immediately Loki and Sylvie are taken to well, I mean before we get into that, Loki, Lady Loki, Sylvie has a moment with Hunter B-15, the kind of like the bigger guard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
she's
The
awesome.
boss
By
lady.
the
Yeah.
way, we haven't mentioned
She
her.
she completely
She's great.
turned. Yeah, at first she was like a complete asshole,
Yeah,
but then now and then she kind of just did 180 and they got really deep into her character. And then she's like, you know, it's tragic. Everyone there is a tragic character,
Yeah.
and
yeah, it's
you
really
know,
sad, and they don't know. Which
They don't
is
know,
even
yeah.
worse.
Yeah, very believable. Where she's like, I saw my life. Like, I saw memories and stuff. Like, what did you do to me? Like, first she's like, what did you do to me? How did you do that? And then she's like, those are just your memories.
I can't create memories
Yeah.
for you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
and then Sylvie showed like, and good for Sylvie, like that shows like, you know, to the tenet, like to the core of her character, where
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, she is like inherently, I feel like a good character. And then she did Hunter B-15, a super generous thing by like showing her entire life, and then you can see like on her face really good acting from the actors. I think Wumi Masaku. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name.
Yeah.
I think the show also showed good restraint there too, of just seeing her reaction.
Yeah,
that's
she just
all you need.
Yeah, she's just like a small
Yeah, they could
little
have
face
thrown in a
flinch.
fight like she's like, no, that's not true, and
Yeah.
they start fighting. But
But no,
Or even
no,
like
it was
show
a
the
very
whole flashback
genuine
sequence.
human moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
And you just all you need is her reaction. You just
Yeah.
see her like see everything, and you just it's implied, and
Her entire world is shattered.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, oh my god, like what am I?
exactly. And then after that,
And she sells it.
yeah, she sells it super well. It's really good. Like everybody's casted super well, from like, you know, the minor roles, the major. I mean, literally in episode 3, the old lady that knocks Sylvie and Loki on their ass with
Yeah,
the
that's
wind gun,
hilarious.
she was good too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That one little scene. Yeah, and then and then we get into the next scene where Sylvie and Loki meet the timekeepers finally, and they had a kind of interesting look to them, kind of like Wizard of Oz, which we'll get into. Like actually, it's appropriate. And then, but then suddenly Hunter B-15, after the generous act of kindness that Sylvie has done,
provided.
yeah, so that she basically releases Loki and Sylvie, and they have a fight sequence. Film better than the ones in Black Widow, but and then where you can see everything and punches actually land. But yeah, and then they have a fight sequence. The Lokis win, and after that, Sylvie throws a knife into the head of the timekeepers. I'm like, oh shit, they killed the timekeeper. Fuck yeah! But then comes down the head. It's an android head. What'd you guys think of that reveal?
I saw that coming from like episode 1.
Same.
I don't think I thought they were gonna be like, you know, robots.
Well,
Yeah.
But I did get the sense
the
that
Wizard of Oz vibe.
yeah, this is not what it seems.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just confirmed it. Yeah, it was interesting. It was a twist, but it wasn't super surprising to me.
Yeah.
But it works.
I had because like one of the timekeepers. Remember the Miss Minute sequence where she explains the TVA. And
Yeah.
they show the timekeepers. One of them looked a lot like a character who I predict, and I still predict will be the head of the TVA, or at least that character will be mentioned to tie into a future Marvel film. And I think you know what I'm saying, but don't say the name yet because I want us to get it. Get into our predictions. But yeah, I think that sequence was cool. But one thing that it follows up another twist is that when Loki's about to have his love confession, right? Is like, basically you complete me. The Jerry Maguire moment with Sylvie. He gets pruned by Renslayer, who easily went to like top of my hated characters. And then I don't get me wrong, I still like her in the show, her purpose. But yeah, I was like, wow.
I will say my immediate thought was like, oh, so he's still alive.
Yeah, and immediately it kind of took away from when Mobius was pruned.
Because I really liked Mobius's last line being I'll get a what's he obsessed with?
Like a
jet
ski.
skis.
He's like, I'll go on a jet ski, and then like I thought that was really touching. But then the second Loki got pruned, I was like, oh.
No, for me, I thought that was great. It's like, oh, okay. Like when I'm Loki, because they're not gonna kill off Loki, right?
Yeah,
and then,
that would have been ballsy as fuck.
Not in episode 5 of his show.
For a second, I thought like, okay, is this just a setup then for Lady Loki, or like for Sylvie to then take over? It's still Loki technically, but it's like, man, that's really kind of a bait and switch because that's not the Loki that we want.
That's
to
like
watch.
the fucking Metal Gear Solid 2, a bait and switch, where we find out we're not playing Solid Snake, we're playing Raiden, and that's the same thing here.
I would have gave them credit for having the balls to do something like that. Like that's a pretty big move.
I would give them credit.
But sometimes having balls is not always a good thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not the smartest. I think
and also
choice,
huge
but
disrespect
still.
to like Tom Hiddleston, the character.
Yeah,
and stuff
absolutely.
Like that.
Yeah, he finally gets his own spotlight, and then it's like psych.
No.
Well,
which I'm glad they didn't do. But then
another potential theory, but I'll save it.
But then once I found out that it's not like he's probably not dead, I immediately went to, oh my gosh, Mobius is back. He's gonna say wow.
Yeah.
He's gonna say wow. I like immediately went to Leia, like, oh my gosh, wow. But yeah, that was good. And then let's get into the mid-credit scenes where Loki, we find out, of course, has not died, and wakes up in an alternate dimension and meets 4 other Loki variants: classic Loki, played by Richard E. Grant; Kid Loki, boastful Loki, and alligator Loki.
I love that they just
Loki
had like a little alligator Loki, and his thing was like, I'm not even like put off by the fact that there's an alligator here.
My favorite thing about alligator Loki is during conversational scenes, they just do headshots of him as if he were part of the conversation.
Yeah,
they
I
cut
bet
back
he
to him.
understands. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he totally does.
He growls and stuff, and they like understand him. I think.
Yeah, like classic Loki translates. He's like, that means like he agrees. Him just being there, I'm like, that's fun.
And then after defeating, after I killed Steve Rogers, I defeated Iron Man and was rewarded with all 6 Infinity Stones.
And they're all just like, bullshit, dude. Like, you didn't do that.
All right. Okay. So real quick, we'll get into episode 5, Glorious Purpose, the latest episode at the time of this recording. I know this will come out probably in the last. When the series finale, or not series, but the season 1 finale airs. But we will discuss that in a future episode.
I like this one. This may be my least favorite episode.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, there were
take.
Yeah, there were a lot of moments I liked in it, but yeah, I don't know. I was like, I think Marvel has the issue where they just have like the giant
smoke
monster
okay,
thing.
I agree with that.
So I was like, the giant smoke monster. What was his name?
Alioth.
Alioth, right?
Yeah.
I was like, it's not that interesting, but I understand it's just to lead into whoever the main villain is.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, it's okay. But I did enjoy the actual like just the alternate Lokis, the world, and just the chaos, and then even like President Loki when he shows up with his gang later. Like that was fun.
I agree with you that part. I think I really don't like the use of cloud monsters. And I don't know
Lost.
if it's
Yeah,
I don't.
Technically, he's...
Shut up.
I don't like it's sometimes I feel like it's like the visual effects artist like jerking out. Look at my fucking cloud simulations.
Yeah.
Look at
It
me.
was a lot.
It's like, I know how to use Blender. Fuck yeah. You know?
It's that they feel like it's a little easier for them to just create a cloud monster than it is to create like some giant dragon thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like this ethereal being, I guess. It's like, I don't know. I would have preferred like some kind of original designed monster.
Actual
And I think he
dog.
is in the comics too. I don't know what he looks like. I just know that it's a character
Yeah.
in the comics.
It has a connection to a certain character that I want to talk about, but we'll get into
Yeah.
predictions.
How do you guys have time to read all these comics?
That's called. It's just not sleeping. You know what I mean? What's it called? I operate on 1 hour sleep. You know what I mean? Literally, I think.
I like this episode a lot, Ronald.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I really do.
I liked it, but I do agree with Ron. I just don't care about those big stupid monster things.
I don't
To be
know.
fair, it's not like that's
not the main focus.
yeah,
No, I
it's
know,
all
I
good,
know.
yeah.
Other than that, I really like this episode. I thought this was I had a lot of fun watching this
Yeah,
one. Like
I love
all the Lokis like getting together and then they're all just kind of like
fucking
betraying
each
one
other
another.
over.
It's so
Oh my
funny.
god! And then classic
Yeah.
Loki. Every version of ourselves is broken.
Yeah. Oh, wait, let's get into classic Loki's.
I love classic Loki.
He had such a good arc this
Yeah.
episode.
Yes. So so first we find out that anything that gets pruned gets sent to this basically, let's say, void or end of time, right? As explained by Renslayer when she's explained to Sylvie, who self prunes herself to go into that. But she's smart. She puts a temp pad in her like pockets and stuff. And Renslayer goes on her own investigation about like the TVA foundings and stuff. That that scheming bitch. What's it called? But what's it called? But once we find out that when we go into there, the only characters that usually survive in this, pruned reality is the
Loki.
Lokis. Of
Yeah.
course, because their nature is to survive. Their nature is mischievous. That's all they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite, and I think probably all of you guys agree too, but my favorite Loki variant in this is classic Loki.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
gets into his backstory, where it's like he's actually the same Loki, but he actually survives this Thanos incident because he's a little craftier and smarter than the Loki we've been following.
Mm-hmm.
And
But also I feel like he feels like a bit of a coward for what he did.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
I got that vibe.
I think he regrets not just dying there. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I do agree with Blake that he probably regrets not going there, but I disagree with the coward part because remember he said that like I just realized that wherever I go, pain and misery follows, right? So
Yeah.
I think he takes like the selfless choice of just drifting off, which kind of goes into what we're saying that Loki's can survive like for quite a bit of time. So if like the asteroid hit, they might have survived. Where like he just like disguised himself as an asteroid. Or not?
no,
I mean,
he's just like a piece of debris.
Trash.
piece of debris, and then he just like
Yeah.
floated off for a very, very long time and isolated himself for forever.
Mm.
And then, which I think is like honestly like a kind of selfless thing. Like if you know that all you do is cause pain and misery and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and chaos wherever you go, because literally you're the god of mischief and chaos. That's cool. That's like wow. That's like what a very mature thing. And I think that Loki like around that time, I could buy him thinking that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Maybe cowardly is the wrong word, but like what Blake said, like regrets it. I feel like he
Gruffle.
regrets
He's remorseful. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get to like the reason why
he
he
didn't
gets
get
pruned.
his moment, and then he gets his moment this episode.
Yeah.
oh, that was great.
Which
Yeah.
is awesome.
I think same thing. Like he says, he missed his brother.
And that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's the reason why he came back and everything. He did feel a bit cowardly though, because like you said, like that was his whole point at that point was he was supposed to die, but he avoided it. He hid, and then he does, eventually
He gets
sacrifice
banished to the
himself.
void for it.
Yeah.
And then I love how ridiculous the outfit is.
Yeah.
It's like the classic Loki outfit and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
love when okay, so like when we get into the sequence when we have basically an all-out battle royale of the Lokis, right? So we get introduced to the various Loki, like Kid Loki. We find out the reason his Nexus event is because he killed Thor, which is like, oh shit, that's badass.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
wonder they all respect him. Boastful Loki, we don't know. He's making shit up as he goes.
Yeah.
Alligator Loki.
For being an
Nexus
alligator.
cat. No, his Nexus event is he ate his neighbor's cat.
Oh yeah, I know. That's probably that. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I didn't know if they were joking or not, but I guess it was probably the case. And then like boastful Loki betrays Kid Loki to President Loki.
Yep.
Yeah, which is nod to the President Loki run and stuff like that. That cool cover of Loki looking super devious with the horns and with like vote for Loki.
Vote for Loki, which is kind of a ripoff of President Luther from DC, but like I mean, whatever they take from each other all the time.
Yeah, yeah. What's it called? Deathstroke and Deadpool and stuff.
Yeah.
What's it called? But it's and then that whole sequence I thought was great because you just see Loki on top of Loki on top of Loki. And
betrayal. That's not what you told me. That's not what you told me.
Yeah. And then, alligator Loki biting off Loki's hand. Another like I mean, I don't know if it's a reference to Thor the Dark World of Loki like
losing his hand.
Loki cutting off Thor's hand.
Oh yes, yeah.
Or if it's just like a Star Wars thing, because I remember Kevin Feige's a huge Star Wars fan, so people always lose limbs or something.
Yeah, and like I think the first 2 phases, a team member or somebody loses a limb in every movie.
Yeah, I know. And then, but my favorite part of that sequence is when Richard E. Grant's. But I love Richard E. Grant. He uses classic Loki uses his powers. And he has like projections of themselves, and the way classic Loki moves, he grabs onto like his crotch or something or his cape. And so it's like making hand movements and people fly and stuff.
He's much more flamboyant, which is very cool. He's just like he takes his cape and then like runs away.
Yeah, it feels like he was a character from a Loki series like 30 years ago.
Yeah, that is a good way to put it.
Makes sense. Yeah, and then like I think and it also makes sense that he's theoretically, at least in terms of magic, the most powerful. The Lokis, which makes sense.
Most skilled.
Yeah. He's probably like honed his magical powers like in that tiny little like fucking isolated planet that he was in.
Yeah.
Also, though, he was able to conjure up a projection that was able to trick fucking Thanos. So I think he also maybe is just a really advanced Loki. I don't know.
Yeah, and I like that moment at the end when he conjures up Asgard, like an entire Asgard.
Yes.
Which is kind of a sad thought, though, when you think about it. He conjured up what he lost.
Yes.
But he also conjured up what he loves.
Exactly.
Love is the ultimate power in the universe.
This is how you do it, Christopher Nolan. This is how you show love is the answer. But
okay, maybe this isn't my least favorite episode.
Exactly, you bitch. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, all right, whatever, all right.
But yeah, and then what's called and Sylvie basically through the power of love and encouragement. I was like Loki, you could do enchantment.
Yeah,
you could do enchantment.
I think that's why.
Yeah, it was dumb. It was stupid.
I think that's the thing that like irked me a little bit was the moment when he's like, it was like I already said my least favorite line where he's like, I think we're much more powerful than we realize. It's like, I mean, I don't know if you really need to say that. I think we just saw that. And then the same thing with she's like, you can do it too, and he starts using the mind control thing.
I do. That was kind of like, oh, okay. But I was reading into it, and then I kind of buy it because technically, remember, like she explained enchanting, and then she like in episode 3 and stuff like that. So he probably, and he's a fast learner, and stuff like that. And also, technically, they are of the same being or different alternate versions of each other.
Yeah, I didn't hate it,
but it is like maybe I could have done it without the dialogue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe just you couldn't say
she just needed to give him a look or something.
Exactly. That's people.
It's like you can, like I know you can do this, and he's
Americans,
like, okay.
You don't need to have dialogue to explain everything. We understand. You know.
Yeah. What would have made it worse is if all the other Lokis came and they're all like holding hands.
Done that.
Holding the alligator's hand. And
Thankfully, they did not do that.
It's like Loki's of the galaxy.
Did anybody else think that this episode kind of had like a Stranger Things vibe to it, like almost a Stranger Things aesthetic, like with what's the giant monster in the second one?
The Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
This reminded me of the Mind Flayer. I don't know.
Really, because
say a little bit.
Stranger Things aesthetic is an aesthetic that rips off other aesthetics.
Yeah,
so it's
true.
like saying that it's like rips off a rip off. It's like okay.
Well, okay. I mean,
just in terms of like the giant monster and stuff.
I don't know.
I mean, they're not the only ones who do the fucking cloud monster.
I know.
It's not as bad as like Fantastic Four 2 with like Galactus or something.
God, Galactus is one of my favorite fucking villains.
Yeah,
Cloud.
They just
a fucking cloud.
They just make him a giant cloud.
Have you ever seen the end of Fantastic Four 2? It's like the most cliche dialogue ever. We'll save it for you.
Yeah. Oh my god,
it's really funny. Let's not watch it.
When John Watts makes his Fantastic Four film, that's when we'll talk about it. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so then they end up kind of
enchanting,
defeating Alioth, and then
And you
now,
see like a citadel or some type of building or mansion later on.
yeah.
Yeah, and let's not forget Mobius. He's alive.
Oh yeah, he's
He's
alive.
alive.
In a pizza car.
And he saves
Sylvie.
He does. Yeah, he saves Sylvie, and then at the end he just goes back to the TVA to kind of reveal the truth to everybody.
Yeah.
We'll
But
see
then-
how that goes.
I like the
Yeah.
little tidbits in the background, like you see Thanos' ship in the back. You see
Thanos copter.
Thanos copter.
The Thanos
copter.
which is great.
That was
I love
fucking
that.
hilarious.
Let's just before we get into final predictions, let's talk about some of the Easter eggs. My God, I love like all this Easter. You saw Frog Thor? Yeah.
You see inside the jar, or what was inside the jar at one point when they're like panning down. I mean, there's another Mjolnir right there.
Yeah.
There's those over there. And then what's it called? And then we saw King or QENG Tower, and I'll get to why that might be significant or whatever, because they kind of like pass by that and hold on to a little bit longer. And then you see the other Avengers towers, you see all the other different things, you see like the Dark Elves, or you see the elves from like some of their spaceships from Thor: The Dark World.
God, why are there so many callbacks in all of these to Thor: The Dark World? Endgame spends like 30 minutes in that fucking movie's time frame.
You know why? Because the
Who knows?
writers of Thor: The Dark World wrote Endgame.
Yeah.
Did they really?
Fuck you
they
for
did.
not accepting this movie.
Yeah, seriously.
It was
It's like, oh, this is the worst Marvel movie. Now it's gonna be really important.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I mean, a lot of things of consequence happen in that movie.
That's
It's
true.
just it's not good.
We have to talk about the Thor
it has
trilogy
some of
at
the
some
best moments, like
Yes.
just the death.
Great
of,
Loki moments.
of Loki's
Yes,
mom.
Loki.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And
So
also-
it makes sense
and
why
also-
they pull from there.
visually they had, I think like they did some parts well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean
mean-
that movie's
a
a mess,
conversation
Yeah.
to be had.
Well, let's not. Oh my God.
yeah, it's
we
not
get
bogged
into
down
it.
to it. So
Well, okay, so let's obviously so they conquer Alioth, the cloud-like creature, and then we see a citadel mansion in the thing, and then that's probably where we'll find out who's in charge of the
Who's
TVA.
behind all this? Yeah.
So let's go into the big obvious giant fucking elephant, like asshole in the room. It's probably fucking King the Conqueror.
I don't
I'm
think
guessing.
so. I don't
guessing.
think so.
If it's
I don't even
not,
know
I'll
who
be
that is.
disappointed.
I have no idea.
If it's
I don't
not-
know.
Okay,
Dumb
I want
nerd shit. I'm
If it's
sorry.
not King the Conqueror, I want it to be at least mentioned.
Can I say my
You know?
theory?
Yes.
But
go.
you don't know who King the Conqueror is?
I don't
Well,
know.
okay,
dumb
let's
nerd
hear
shit.
his 30.
Go on.
His theory first.
Could it just be an extremely evil Loki variant? Is that
No,
not
really
That
an
is
obvious
my theory.
possibility?
That's my theory. Is that it is a Loki variant, like a powerful one who achieved his dream of taking over the TVA and becoming the ruler over time and stuff. I don't
That's
think it's
probably-
Kang the
oh,
Conqueror,
fuck.
and I
You
don't
know what, you're
want it
probably
to.
right.
I don't want it to be Kang.
Isn't
And-
that a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No,
variant?
no, you're wrong.
Thinking about Krang, but no, Kang the Conqueror in the
Fucking
comics,
idiot.
his thing. He's a very powerful MCU villain. His whole thing is that he hops through different timelines, and his whole purpose is to basically be the king of time and stuff. He's a big Marvel Avengers villain and stuff. He's got a purple face and like a turquoise outfit and everything.
he has like no special powers, but he just has like extreme intelligence, and he makes a suit that makes him one of the most powerful beings. In the
and he's a
Marvel
time
universe.
traveler, and he's all about ruling over all of time. So it makes sense from the comic standpoint, but I think as far as this show is concerned, with what they're doing, I think that would be a really bad misstep, because it's like
I disagree, but,
we have no real build up to him at all. Like, again, character wise, it doesn't really make any sense for them to be like, and here's Kang, and it's like everyone's gonna be like, who the fuck is that? Like, who? Like, I don't know.
Ant-Man 3 villain.
Like they can build him eventually. I think if anything, the end result of this show could lead into it very well. Like, he could be the villain for season 2 or something, when it's like, okay, now that TVA is gone, now that they're defeated and there's no longer this like strict timeline or whatever, that opens up opportunities for characters like Kang to then come step into play and be like, oh shit. It's kind of like how they kind of retroactively said that, like, since Odin died in Ragnarok, that's what let Thanos, like, it gave him more confidence to then go to Asgard and then try to take the Infinity Stones that they had. Like, it makes sense. That's like, okay, now whoever is like the timekeepers are dead. Now everyone knows that throughout the multiverse. Then it opens up the window for other villains to step in and be like, oh, okay, well, now it's free game,
Yeah, I think. I mean, I wouldn't hate it if it was King. I think you're actually kind of right, because holding self-love and self-reflection.
Yeah,
and stuff
right.
Like,
Like,
that. Yeah, it
his
is
the
evil
ultimate
Loki.
villain being in Loki. Like, it's himself. Like, this is the version that he's always wanted to be, right? This is his aspiration to be this Loki.
And now he's gonna meet the evil, fucked up conqueror Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, wow, you're an asshole.
Yeah. But
Jason, do you have a
I
theory?
do. I hope at least in like a post-credit scene. I wouldn't want him to villain Loki. He's too big a villain to be relegated to a Disney Plus season. I mean, he's already is a villain. He's already gonna confirm.
I mean,
to be.
it just depends on how much balls these shows have. Like, they haven't given us anything like that, but they could. Like, these are part of the MCU.
Well,
Yeah, they
and
are.
they
but
could
no.
have legitimate,
I mean,
like,
I haven't
consequences.
seen-
Some real powerhouse.
Okay, well, I haven't.
He wipes the floor with Thanos. I mean, that's like how fucking powerful the king is.
He can
He's-
be. Yeah.
Well, then it would kind of make sense for him to be the next big one, right?
Well, I
Like,
mean, he's already confirmed. Jonathan Majors from Lovecraft Country and the Spike Lee film, The Five Bloods. He's already been cast as King the Conqueror, and he's gonna be the main villain for Ant-Man and the Quantumasium or something.
okay.
Which
Yeah.
again makes sense, I think, but again, it has to take place all after this. After
I'm okay with the post-credit scene that like you know,
Yeah.
he's like witnessing all of this.
fine, I'll
from
do
the-
it myself. You know? But yeah, I would love to see Kang come out eventually, but I just don't think that it would make sense narratively with this show.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more the fan side. I'm like kind of blinded, and I just want to fucking see that guy's cool as fuck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I see that. Yeah, honestly. Okay, I'm turning around on it.
Jason, do you have a theory?
No, I don't. I just want to watch it. I just want to see episode 6 and talk about it next week.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Is this season, I know that we're getting a season 2 of Loki, but is this season going to be the send-off for our kind of Loki? Will season
No.
2 just be following Sylvie?
I've heard some people say that this Loki will die at the end of this, or at least theorize that he could die. I could see that happening, but I really hope they don't.
That
But
could
also,
be-
I
that
could see
be
this
done
being a
right.
way for him to get back into
The
the
timeline.
And
MCU.
I
yeah.
am hoping. I'm not in love with that idea. I really like Loki's send off in Infinity War, which is why I was initially kind of against this whole fucking idea. You see, the thing is, I like that Loki kind of uses his evil powers for good in the end. He's a trickster. I like that his final act is him kind of tricking someone for the right reason. I don't know. I like that.
And failing.
And failing. But also kind of succeeding, because I think he's trying to save Thor, essentially. That's kind of his prerogative.
Yeah.
I really like it. I like that moment. And I like his last words. You will never beat a god. Even as he is being strangled to death by this fucking being.
Mad Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
As
he-
he is being strangled to death, he looks Thanos in the eyes and says, you will never beat a god. Like, I don't know. I've always liked that as a send-off. So, I would be okay if this, it's not even our Loki anymore, but if this closer to our Loki were to die in the finale next week, I'd be fine with that, to be honest.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I
though.
would if there was no season 2. If there's a season 2 and he died.
well,
and
what's
not
wrong
coming
with
back,
Sylvie? I think they've established her pretty well.
I think it's like I don't like one.
She's great.
She
I don't
is-
want to.
but
I
you
don't want
kinda
to.
need
You
the
need the Tom
Loki.
Hiddleston. That's a
Yeah,
huge
you
disrespect
need
to that
the
character.
Loki.
And
Yeah.
2, I do not want to give any of those alt-right trolls any more reason to go like fuck this show, fuck Loki.
You know what?
Fuck all
Well,
that
fuck
stuff.
him.
You know
Who
what?
cares?
Yeah,
I
you
don't-
know what?
I don't
I
care
take
about
it back. I want her to be the main character of the MCU going forward.
Dude,
Female
and
versions
two.
of all the villains, all
I
the
don't
characters.
know.
And 2, like I said, Loki, he was there since phase 1.
Yeah,
and that's why I
deserves a
care about.
retirement.
That's why I care
Yeah.
about this character, right?
Yeah,
I like Sylvie. I do really like her as a character, and I want to see her moving forward. But
There's not enough
Uh,
attachment there for her to carry her own show. in my
exactly,
yeah,
You guys-
especially when you have
Loki.
the one right next to
opinion.
him.
And
her.
part of what works is dynamics. Loki with Sylvie or Loki with Mobius.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think
those work.
Give Tom Hiddleston more room to
Yes,
play.
and
'cause
Tom
I'm
Hiddleston loves
enjoying
his
him.
character. He says, "I'll always be back." If you have an actor that's willing to come back, and you have a character as dynamic as Loki, do
Yeah,
not.
I see he's a
As
producer of the
a-
show, and
Yes.
he really seems to again,
As a
care
fan
about the character.
favorite, like they'll bring him back
Yeah.
No,
anytime
I
they
just
possibly can.
want.
I get it.
I
I
I
get
want
it. Like,
deaths to fucking matter. In
You're,
the
you're talking about a
MCU.
comic book movie.
No,
with
no,
a
okay.
cinematic universe. That's
The
the
thing is-
Thanos
matter.
says no goddamn resurrections. this time.
Yeah,
Oh,
then
guess
Loki
what,
is-
Thanos?
The thing is, I also agree with Blake. I don't think that they should. If they do bring him back into like the rest of the MCU
Oh,
movies
no.
and stuff, it should be a while from now. Like, give him time. Like,
I'm
don't
okay,
cover him
yeah.
back in Love and Thunder. Like, it should be a long time before he has any kind of reason to come back to the MCU, because that death does
I
have
agree
to
with that.
stick. And I
Yeah.
think it did affect
Thor.
all the characters, especially Thor, like so much. Like, part of the reason why I think he feels that drive, like he lost his home and he lost Loki, and I think that was just that final straw where he's just like, fuck, like, and that's what
Yeah.
leads him to spiral down and eventually in Endgame, which I know that was a controversial
Yeah,
character moment, but I liked it.
If they have this show running like alongside whatever they're gonna be doing next, and then at some point he crosses paths with it, I think it can work in a really fun way.
Yeah.
I just want character deaths to matter. And also,
It,
one
it
last
still
statement.
does.
One
This
last-
is a different
one
Loki. This is a
last-
different
I-
Loki.
I'm
It
okay.
works in the way that you want it to.
They're eating their pie and they're having it too. That was not the right.
So much pie.
So much fucking pie. All I'm saying, I would rather they retire the Loki character than drag him on forever and ever.
They're not going to do that.
This
so
this has been
let
great.
that go.
This has been great. I just hope it doesn't go on too long.
I will say that of all the characters that would just keep coming back,
It would be Loki.
Loki is the one character I would give
Makes
the
sense.
pass to. If they try to like bring back Captain America or Tony Stark or whatever, I'd be like, oh, okay, like, yeah, they just need to die and stay dead for sure. Like, they should have no real reason to come back outside of like the What If show or whatever. But that's a completely different beast. But no, those stay dead. Loki, I give him a pass because it's Loki. Like,
Yeah,
that's like what he
yeah.
does, right?
And
Well, like you
also-
said, they survived. They,
Exactly, and also this Loki is not the same Loki that we saw die in Infinity War.
Yeah.
And this Loki essentially is like a time traveling variant Loki.
yeah, like
Which is fine.
it should be fun to see him again, like later on if he does interact with Thor again. But having changed and grown a lot, like even from the
Yeah.
Infinity War Loki, he's a very different guy at this point, I think, than he already was there. So yeah,
Show
it'd be
is very
fun.
meta, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's written by like 2 Rick and Morty writers,
Oh yeah,
That-
which is really
I
cool.
was gonna say.
Michael Waldron and I think Tom Kaufman.
I brought it up in my intro, obviously. This show gives me a lot of Rick and Morty vibes. It's very like the Rick Citadel, different Ricks, It really reminded me of Rick and Morty a lot.
The fact that Michael Waldron is like writing Multiverse of Madness gives me a lot more hope for that show, because that was my most anticipated Marvel like property to be coming out.
right.
But
Wait, is that gonna be a show?
After
sorry, the movie.
Oh,
movie.
okay.
Movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, after
Yeah.
parting the ways of the original director and then what's Marvel Studios and stuff. it
Yeah,
was all-
after the original director left because he wanted it to make it scarier and more rated R, and then they were like, no, and then he was like, all right, fine, so I'm out, and then they got Sam Raimi to come in. I was like,
I
Wait,
like
Sam-
Sam Raimi.
I like Sam Raimi too, but I'm like, I don't
But
want them to
you know
just.
what? Sam Raimi
he's
is gonna be
goofy.
more of a studio man.
Yeah,
that's
like
the
I don't
thing,
want him to
yeah.
just be a studio director who just comes in and just does whatever they want. Like
Yeah,
I,
like Ron
I like,
Howard.
I think Marvel, and we'll get into this when we talk about Black Widow. Marvel is at its best when it has a director or someone behind the helm that has a vision and an idea for these characters,
And
they-
also stands their ground.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and they know what they want to do. They have a story they want to tell with these specific characters. James Gunn, like John Favreau, the Taika Waititi, the Russo brothers. When
Edgar
they,
Wright left.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's fine. I'd rather Edgar
Yeah,
Wright
absolutely.
leave than try to be forced to do something that he doesn't want to do, because then that'll show. So yeah, no, I'm excited to see what they can do with this, and what moving forward, and especially seeing whatever Michael Waldron will write for the
Yes,
future.
Yeah.
yes, I'm excited. I'm really excited. And brief shout out to the other writers, Alyssa Krasik for 2, Bishop K. Ali for episode 3, Eric Martin for 4, and Jess Dweck. I'm just gonna give you a shout out, even though I haven't seen the series finale, but you're writing the series finale.
I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, and Kate Herron, kind of like she's like what a gem. Like,
Yeah.
I know she watched Sex Education and stuff, and I kind of like the show. Like, and Daybreak, it's okay. Like, but like I think this is definitely her calling card. Like all 6 episodes and what she did, the shot competition, well filmed action sequences.
Yeah, like what we said, it's like probably one of the best looking Marvel things that they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Autumn Arkapaw.
Yes, art
Yeah.
of, you know.
Can
what I
they
mean?
shoot for the Russo brothers? They may understand the characters, but they don't understand the cameras.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Infinity War.
I did.
Infinity War had to have been an accident.
Wait,
No.
no. Infinity War certain sequences when it has CGI characters and it's indoor looks good. When
Yeah.
it's outdoor, it looks muddy and
I
gray.
did watch
it's-
The Winter Soldier today, and I noticed it looks significantly worse than other like Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Movies.
like Winter Soldier. I give that one a pass because it's like this espionage thing. It's
Yeah.
like,
You could
it's
make
supposed to
espionage
look.
films look good still.
No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that it's a little more like
Documentary.
desaturated, like a little bit more like kind of grounded. The colors are brought down a bit, which is fine. I think it gets to a problem when you get to like Civil War.
When they fight at the airport.
Yeah, they
Yes.
fight in the big airport sequence, and it just looks gray.
Boring,
Yeah, it
yes.
looks kind of boring. It's like, oh, this should be like super
Colorful.
thrilling and exciting. And I think they do fix that a bit when they get to. Well, I think a lot when they get to Infinity War
Yeah, I
with
agree.
like the
That
when
was
they
an
go to
accident or
space,
something,
when they
I
do
don't
like the
know.
big sequence on Titan. With,
Yeah,
like,
and did they
Thanos.
use
Yeah,
a
it looks
different cap? I
awesome.
think they shot that film entirely in IMAX and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think
used a
they learned
different-
the lesson. They're like, oh, you want color? Here's some fucking color. Like,
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't even think it's like really the Russo brothers' fault because like I saw like I don't like Cherry, but like I saw like their work on that, and you know visually they fixed a lot of the color grading issues. I think it's
Yeah.
just like a mandate that they have.
Yeah, and I think people
Yeah.
forget that the action sequences they are shot well.
Our dog just killed 3 rats. Just kidding.
Get your dog.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
Let's just leave that in. I think. So.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
All right. Let's. What's it called? But yeah. I think you know what's it called. It's
Oh no, but yeah, going back to like those action sequences, they were shot really well. Like the fight sequences are done pretty damn well. Like
It's
not just
fine.
talk. Just keep going.
okay, like when Captain America and like the Winter Soldier are fighting, real like heart pounding action sequences done, or like the opening
Yeah.
sequence where on the battleship and stuff. Really cool. That's like some Paul Greengrass vibes you get, like Born Identity.
Yeah,
shit.
definitely.
Which again, when we get to Black Widow,
Yeah, that's
it doesn't
honestly even
really work as well.
When I first watched it, I was really impressed. Now watching it, I'm less impressed in the Winter Soldier, but it's still. I think for me, that's like the limit of Paul Greengrass inspired shaky cam. That's like
Yeah.
the limit. I still don't prefer that, but we'll get into that. In a
Yeah.
bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
last real quick. So how do you guys think this will tie into the other? I know we talked about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So you guys have your things. You guys don't think you don't think King is gonna come out? Not even a post credit scene. Do you think?
No, I think maybe a post credit scene. Like again, but it has to be after the
Events.
the events of the show. After something like this happens, where he's just like, all right, then, like now I
Yeah.
can do my thing because the timekeepers aren't around anymore. But yeah, I don't know.
How do you think this
After.
compares to the other MCU Disney Plus shows?
I have not watched WandaVision because I didn't care. I hated Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and I
Falcon
really
and
like
Winter
this.
Soldier,
Yeah, whatever the fuck it's called. I really like this, and I'm happy that they did it. I was hesitant going in, and I was happily surprised.
What about you, Blake?
I really liked it. I haven't watched the other.
Oh, you haven't watched any of the shows?
Not since like fucking Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched like 2 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier and didn't really care for it.
See, I watched WandaVision. That one took me a bit to get into the show, but I liked it. I applaud it for its like originality and for really trying to do something different in the MCU. That's one thing I've noticed, at least with this and Loki and WandaVision, is that it's like seems to be an avenue for them to explore some different ideas and kind of approach things differently, which I liked a lot. I think it faltered near the end of the show, and I think they had what Marvel has always really struggled with, which is the villain problem.
Yes.
Agatha was like a pretty weak villain by the end, when it really should have just been Scarlet. Like she should have been like Wanda should have been the actual
own
villain of
villain,
the show.
yes.
Yeah. And then have her like dealing with the consequences, and they kind of just gloss over like the fact
Yeah.
that she brainwashed an entire town, and it's
Mhm.
like what? Like, she should be really dealing with some shit there, but like they kind of just like, hey, don't worry about it. But yeah, so I don't know. I did not see Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just because it's part of the Marvel universe, which interests me the least. It's just like the grounded like spy stuff, which I liked in Civil War and Winter Soldier, because like I like Cap a lot. He's like one of my favorite characters. So, but without him, when it's just Bucky and Falcon, I was like, Like I don't know. I don't really want to see it. And anything I've heard has been mixed. So I don't know. I'll watch it eventually.
Yes.
But I'm not really excited to.
Yeah, I'll finish it at some point, begrudgingly.
I don't know.
At this
I don't care
point,
about the MCU.
You guys should have watched it before we watched Black Widow. Because we'll get into why.
I'm sure
Okay,
that
You
probably.
can spoil it for me. I don't care.
Okay. But okay.
Same.
So overall ratings of the show so far, just from episodes 1 through 5.
I like it a lot. Like, I mean, if I could buy it, I guess I would. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I liked it more than WandaVision. It's really cool. I like it.
What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I don't even know our rating system at this point, but
TV shows. Yeah.
I mean,
at the end of the day, I just really like it. I think
it's on the shelf.
sure, it's on the shelf.
Okay.
I wouldn't buy it because it's on Disney Plus, but
Yeah.
metaphorically on the shelf.
If there's a Blu-ray, you know,
Yeah.
what I mean? There might. Who knows? There might.
Yeah, on the shelf, I guess. It's just really fun and it's interesting and it's making me like the Loki character a lot more because before I liked him, but I didn't love him. But now I could say like he's one of my favorite characters. It's good. It's good.
What about you, Bunch?
I've never bought a Marvel Blu-ray.
Oh, you're
Maybe
so
that's
cool.
I don't know. Maybe that's
Neither
just
have I.
maybe that's just a douchey thing. I
But I've
do.
never bought a Blu-ray.
Hey, my Blu-ray collection is so curated; it's unbelievable.
Oh my god! Right next to Stuart. Little.
Fuck you! There's no goddamn Stuart Little Blu-ray. It's
I
really
see it
good.
right now.
There's no Stuart Little Blu-ray. I don't know. It's really good. That's all I'll say. I'm sorry. I'm not conforming to our convoluted rating system. for
But
this
sorry,
one.
real quick. One of my favorite moments of our show is whenever we have to rate anything, we just sit there and argue for about 5 minutes about it.
Keep that in. That's great.
I do.
We don't understand our own rating system. If you can figure it out, leave a comment and let us know how to do it. It's good. I don't know. I like it.
For me, so for WandaVision, I would put it bargain bin. I liked it a lot, but I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot up until the last episode. The last episode soured me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it has its moments. Well, I'm sorry
Yeah.
not to interrupt you, but
Yeah. Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's some episode I think 4 and 5, where I was like, oh wow, this is like on the shelf worthy. Episodes 1 and 2 were bargain bin. Episode 6, half of it was bargain bin, and then the other half was shit bucket. So overall, I'll put it. I would put it in the shit bucket.
oh, geez.
Yeah,
wow,
I
that's
would.
a
Yeah,
jump.
because the last episode soured me so much. I won't get into why when we talk about it, but I still recommend it for people to watch because it's important to the lore and shit.
Okay.
I'm a big lore guy. So for me, this one, episodes 1 through 5, I'll put it on the shelf.
Tom Hiddleston's a handsome fella.
Very much is. He even got his own shirtless scene.
Yes.
Every Marvel,
The only
every
reason
male Marvel.
in
When he
the first
walks
episode.
in.
Yeah, when they took off his clothes, this fine ass Guardian leather.
Yes, fine as Guardian leather. And then
Yeah.
he just rips his clothes off.
Yes. I think it's like all like barely ages. Yes. Which I guess it works like when I kind of bought it where I was like, I mean, you could tell he aged.
Did you ever
but-
see the
Oh,
test footage
yeah.
of when he tried being Thor?
Dude,
Like,
that
he
guy's
got
ripped.
yeah, he was like super buff, but it looks so weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I like
like,
how he didn't get Thor. He's like, fuck it, I'm thin.
He got the better role.
Weird side
Yeah.
tangent. I saw like a post on Reddit from like way back in the day, and it was like an article about how Marvel has decided to cast 2 no names in Thor, like Chris Hemsworth and
Yeah,
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
And now it's just like I was reading that and I was like, what? Like, were these guys ever no names? Because they're huge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like
Whoa.
one of the reasons why that like Chris Hemsworth even got the role was because
Star Trek?
no, because Star Trek was one of the,
Trek
but it was
first.
but it was Cabin in the Woods, even though that came
Oh,
out
okay.
after.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
Cabin in the Woods wasn't like they already finished it, and it was in the can for like so many years. And there was like whole like legal and financial issues. But Josh Whedon worked on it, who worked on the Avengers later on. But he had like contacts at Marvel, and he was like, yeah, you know that scene where everyone's seen Cabin in the Woods, right?
Best
Yeah,
scene,
yeah.
if you're talking about the best scene of the movie, the motorcycle scene where he tries to jump off the cliff.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm
Because
not,
that is
yeah.
the best scene in that movie.
That is a great scene, but I'm not even talking about that scene. That's not even the scene because in the commentary, the scene that he says that this is what I showed to them, they were like, "That's Thor." It's the scene where the zombie family tries to go kill them,
It's been like
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
To be
when they're
honest.
aren't they like having a
Been
sex
a
scene in the
while.
woods?
We should talk about this.
Yeah.
'Cause
Like,
I
it
love
was-
this.
it's a fun
It was
movie.
I
super
like that movie.
contrived
Yes,
sex scene in the woods.
exactly.
They're like, all right, now we
Yeah.
gotta get him to bone. And
Exactly. It was after that, and then like the zombies try to attack, but then he lifts his arm and he smacks the zombie girl, and she like does like a 360, and then Josh Whedon and watched it with Drew Goddard, like, man, that guy's an action star. He's tall. Like in the commentary, he's like, he's tall, good looking, he's gruff. Oh, he's Australian, dude. And then so they sent that footage to I think like maybe it was Kevin Feige or something. They were like, oh, this is our Thor.
Yeah.
He is the
Also,
best looking Avenger.
also that movie shows off like his comedic chops, which I think was very underutilized in
yeah,
the
they didn't
like,
realize that till like
start
Ragnarok.
of
The
the
Ragnarok. Yeah.
MCU.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Was
I
he
mean,
funny in Ultron? I don't remember.
He
always
does have a
feels-
few jokes.
He
like-
gets progressively
Yeah, so
funnier
funnier.
throughout.
Yeah,
which
that's-
makes sense because he's like hanging out with Tony Stark and stuff
Yeah.
more and stuff.
Like the first one, he's like, watch your words, like, you know, that's my brother you're talking about. And, like, he just killed like 300 people, and he's like, he was adopted. And then in Ultron, he has a joke where like Hulk is kind of like coming down from being Hulk, and he's all like sad in the corner and stuff. And they're like, Thor, can you like offer him some words of comfort? And he's like, your slain enemies are hollering at the gates of Valhalla. And he's like, I mean, they're fine. It's fine. Like, don't worry about it.
Oh gosh, my gosh.
Best looking Avenger.
Yes,
Chris
yes.
Yeah.
Hemsworth.
It's,
I watched Ragnarok today as well, and he definitely looks better with his haircut.
Yes, yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
He
all
looks super
for
cool,
short
dude.
hair
so
Thor.
like so.
I loved
whole-
in
you know?
Endgame when he has like the full beard and he gets braided and everything.
Yeah.
He gets some of those Norse like braids in there. I'm like, hey, fuck yeah, that's dope. Oh, we didn't even mention Loki. He speaks. Oh fuck, what language is he speaking? When he's in the bar and he's singing along, it's like it's a Scandinavian
Yeah.
language. I can't. I don't know. I can't say exactly what it is. But I remember there were some criticisms in the Thor movies that people had where they're like, he never speaks any Scandinavian kind of languages at all, and they're like, what's up with that? Like, you know, he's the
Yeah.
Norse god. Like, come on. So I like that he was singing
It did
along.
happen, yeah.
Yeah, like that was cool.
There's a lot of care. Like yeah, Kate. We were talking about that earlier.
We didn't even talk about the soundtrack for the show.
Oh, yes.
Natalie.
So good.
It's
great.
they fixed both the music and the ugly color grading.
Yes.
Yes.
People complain about that all the time in Marvel.
Yeah.
They're like,
the
no.
title card song has been stuck in my head for the last
like it's
2
so
days.
good.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so
they
good.
use like a theremin, and they have the
Yes.
vocalizations that sound like theremins. Dope.
Yes.
Awesome.
Love the title card.
So
the shifting Loki logo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good. All right, due to the complicated nature of like our topics, because we're covering so many films and it
We
it
didn't
went along.
expect to go 2 hours on this.
Yeah, but it's that good. It's that good of a show.
worth it.
What's it called? That we were most likely gonna have to split this into two parts, and this is the end of the first part. Where we talk about Loki. Thank you guys for listening and going on this insane journey with us.
Yeah,
And
let
we're
us know what you think about Loki.
Yes.
Did you like it? What are your theories? I mean, well, by the time this comes out, we'll know.
No.
But
Yeah.
tell us, what were your theories? Did they pan out? Did they not? Let us know.
And like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're hearing this on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or any other platforms, then just send us a follow. And thank you guys so much. And this is Half a Clue Movie Review.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.